Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening. And I'm going to be a kind of dungeon master that I haven't been in a little while now, because you see, tonight, or today, or this afternoon, wherever this finds you, whenever this finds you, we are going to be playing a very special one-shot playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And today's session is in support of the Heroes Save Villages charity raffle that we're running from the time of recording up until September 1st, 2020. And from now until noon on Mountain Standard Time on September 1st, you will be able to make donations of $25 for every ticket, every chance to win the Heroes Save Villages raffle, which benefits SOS Children's Villages International, a really terrific organization active in over 130 countries that benefits over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children. The reason we are playing a very special one-shot of 5th edition is because our grand prize for that, very generously donated by the awesome people at Beetle and Grimm, is a copy of the gold edition of the Eberron Rising from the Last War box set. And what we're going to be doing today is I've put together a little adventure that I'm calling The Hateful Secrets of Camp Karkass. And we will be making use of a lot of the material that's out of the box set. I'm going to show you what's available that you can win as the grand prize, and as well as some of the other stuff that's around here. And to join me in this venture into the world of Eberron are some of our regular stars. I'll go through, guys, how I've got you on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing today? First up, I have Jason Hobbs.
All right, number one. Take that, Arlen. I'm playing Valatir, Gastori, Siren Inquisitor.
Nice.
Right?
Yes, right.
Inquisitive,
yep.
Yeah.
Inquisitive, yep. Next up is George.
Hey, I'm George. I'm playing Erlich, who is a human, former paladin, now pact of the page. What's it called?
Pact of the Great Old
One. Yeah, patron, warlock.
Nice. Next up is Dave.
Hey everybody, I'm Dave. I'm playing Diria, and she is an artificer, which seems to be kind of a blend of a mage and a thief with some really cool, like, technical kind of stuff. She gets her magic from items and whatnot.
You also have a pretty cool pet as well, too.
Yes, my little trusty robot dog.
Yeah, your Steel Defender. And last but certainly not least is Arlen.
Hi, I'm Arlen. I'm playing Khaled, who is a Hobgoblin College of Swords bard. And so he's got some interesting kind of... He plays the drums and does acrobatics and throat singing to connect to his ancient lost empire. That's his thing.
Nice. So, one of the things that before we jump into the game proper as well, too, while some of the other guys are certainly more familiar with 5th edition than what I am, I don't run a lot of 5th edition, so I am bound to get things wrong, or I'm bound to ignore things, as I'm wont to do. One of the things that we're doing that is a departure from the rules already is we'll be playing with Astonishing Fortune, which is something we usually use in the game. But what you'll see is that for this session, we're treating it a little differently. It's our narrative meta currency for this story, and the characters will also have a way of generating extra points, too. Now, some of the stuff that I'm already going to be making use of includes the very awesome DM screen that you get with the box set as well, which has a bunch of information about the gods of Eberron, the different dragon-marked houses, and so forth. So I'll be doing that. Let's just set the stage so we all sort of know where we are. The last war raged for a century. For 100 years since the death of the last king of Galifar, the 5 successor nations, which were once known as the Five Nations, fought amongst each other to determine who would become the heir to it. And over the course of that 100 years, alliances changed and shifted almost as many times as many years went through. And the Corvair, the continent where our adventure takes place, that emerged at the end of the conflict, was dramatically different from the one that began when Galifar was once one kingdom. The most significant change, while there's been the emergence of a number of different new successor nations, the Gnomish kingdom of Zelargo, the Hobgoblin or Goblinoid land of Dargoon, Drome, said to be led by a trio of hags. The most dramatic change is the loss of Seer in the morning. In one cataclysmic day, one event, an entire nation was completely, to the last man, woman, and child, annihilated. And to this day, nearly 4 days later, no one knows what caused it. There are many consequences that have come from the morning, the most significant of which was the end of the last war. But because of the uncertain and sudden way that the war ended, the conflict between the different nations, the surviving 4 nations, and all of the others, the successor nations, conflicts now have moved to the shadows. This is a time of opportunity, of adventure, but also of trauma and loss. And no one has experienced that more than the survivors of the morning. The Sirens who were outside the borders when the morning occurred. And our heroes are 4 such heroes. Val, Erlich, Diria, and Kalad were all veterans of the Siren, of the last war and the Siren army. But there was one other thing that brought them all together. And we're going to find out what that is over the course of this story. So, guys, our scene opens on darkness. And we hear the sound of heavy breathing, whether it's from exertion or from fear. And then we see a crack of lightning overhead. And what is illuminated is this. This, we see in white lettering across the blackened sky, the words Camp Karkass, 5 years ago. And what we see is there are a collection of 4 figures hurriedly making their way along to this rocky coastline. And it's actually not really a coastline so much as it is a water, like a beach. And what you guys can see with the illumination of the lightning is that this is a single stony island in the middle of a very, very vicious set of rapids. All around this island, there's white foam that's illuminated very briefly by the flash of lightning. But there, we can see as well, too, that the water is dashing up against jagged rocks. The shore is barely in sight on both sides of this island. But these 4 heroes are intent on making their escape from Camp Karkass. As you're making your way along, you can hear the sounds of shouts and guards in the background. We can see that the 4 heroes match the 4 that we see here. Erlich, the dark hair and light skin. Val, dark skin and white hair. Kalad, his coppery skin glistening in the rain coming down. And Diria, her hair wild, blown around by the wind. Blonde and determined looking. What we see is that when they get down to the... I guess first things, Val stumbles and falls. And we see him get up. And you were all dressed with basically pantaloons, torn or closer to like bloomers. So you've got stuff that's cut off at the knees. You're bare to the chest. Otherwise, Diria, you have a little shift on as well. But otherwise, we can see all of you guys. And the thing that really stands out is that Val, one of your legs is a sickly pale Caucasian leg. It looks like that of a corpse that's been fused to your right leg. And you guys get down to the shore. Erlich, you spare a look back to see who is coming. But Diria and Kalad have worked together. And you guys have a plan to get yourself to the far side. There is a small series of contraptions that do not look like they would fit together. But Diria, you've put something together that will propel all of you to the shore and, with a little luck, to safety. You can hear the sounds of the guards getting closer. Diria and Kalad, you work very closely to put together this contraption. And what it really looks like is a magical apparatus in the center with 2 long poles hanging from it. This is your hope for freedom. We see you look back. You're able to get down into the water. It's said that anyone swimming through here, through these waters, is inviting death. Not only because of the rocks, but because of what the Karnathi, your captors, have sunk into the river. It's said that the entire stretch of water around here, zombies, ghouls, and other horrific things that have no need for air have been sunk and will grab those who try and escape and bring them down. But that will not stop you. You know that you need to find freedom, or all of your characters will be subject to the same horrific experiments that have led to Val's new leg. You place the thing in the water, and you guys begin going. You guys get out about 15 feet or so. We can see that you're begin to be carried off. Your engine is glowing with arcane power, Diria, and it's fighting and coughing against the strength of this current. But you're winning. And when you get to about 50 yards out, you spare a look back, and you see, striding down to the shore, is the commandant of this prisoner of war camp. The bane of most of your existence. The one whose hand has slain every other surviving member of your respective units. Commandant Gustavus Thule. A bone knight in service to Karnath and said to be a member of the Order of the Emerald Claw. But you are too far away. And as you're getting closer, suddenly, Val, you scream. Your leg is on fire. And I'm not being hyperbolic. If you look down, your entire artificial leg, the necromantic limb you have on, the whole thing is in bright white flame. And you don't need to question why. The radiant power of divine magics. You only realize now that the Karnathi must have set wards. The necromantic limbs are not only a way of pushing forward the vicious necromantic science of Karnath and Lycia Nescus, their necromantic specialist. It's also a way of ensuring that no one escapes from Camp Karkass. The screams of Val are still echoing in your ear, Diria, when you jerk awake. And you blink and you look out, and we can see that you're sitting on a train. A lightning rail, in fact. In the setting of Eberron, you guys are familiar with this, but for those at home who aren't familiar with Eberron, Eberron is a world where magic has come to be incorporated into all sorts of different technology. So it is a much higher tech setting with trains and airships and lots of convenient magical items and so forth that are not present in other settings. And this lightning rail is leading you to Sharn. But you sit on this, and you're in a comfortable car, Diria. Kalad, you see Diria jerk awake, too. She's no doubt nodded off. The car is climate-controlled with some magical air conditioning, but even then, sitting in the sun, it's hard not to grow a little drowsy. And she no doubt nodded off. Diria, you spare a look at Kalad, who's sitting across from you. You know that look, Kalad. She could probably use with a drink. So if you wanted to fetch her something maybe from the dining car, it won't be long until you hit Sharn. And what we see is, in white lettering, is the present day outside of Sharn. So what do you do, Kalad?
I think I'll say, you look like you could use something to drink, Diria.
I don't know if there's enough drink to make this go away, but yeah.
How about I go fetch us something?
Sure, thanks.
And as you rise, Kalad, you start making your way through. And one of the things that is, in marked contrast to that stark and brutal beach, this is a elegantly designed and elegantly constructed car. If you picture something sort of like an Orient Express style, beautiful interior, but with magical accoutrements and with a passenger roster that is full of elves from Valinor and humans from all over, of all different races and ethnicities, gnomes, dwarves from Kundarak, goblins coming in trying to seek their riches or perhaps see other people. People dressed in savage kind of cloaks and whatnot, or clothing, and people dressed in ornate, magically augmented clothes as well. There's a man reading a book with a set of eyeglasses that just hovers in front of his face, and as he turns to look outside, it goes along and follows with him. But what you pass, Kalad, is you almost step onto, because you're much bigger than him, a little gnome. And he sort of steps back and allows you to pass. And then the gnome takes a seat across from Diria. Diria, am I correct in thinking that you've got your head looking out the window? The land rushing by?
Yeah, just trying to figure out what she was visiting, and she probably would have pulled out one of her artificer's tools, one of her favorite old little pliers that are useful for tinkering with stuff.
Yep.
Just because it's the comfort of having it around.
Okay. And yeah, you're sort of doing that when you hear kind of someone clearing their throat, and you look over and there is a little gnome there, and he looks like this. And he says,
I'm sorry, is the seat taken?
It was, but it's not at this very moment.
So there are two. There's actually enough room on these seats, so you can have one. Kalad could take one, and there's another free seat next to him.
Yeah, not anymore, but...
Okay. He sits down, and he waits for a moment or so for... see if you strike up any conversation, and when you continue on, he says,
So, your first time to Sharn, then?
Yeah.
Huh. You're... And he gestures at your dragon mark. And the dragon mark at... the way that it is sort of described in the fiction is that it's always sort of present and glowing a bit, but it's not until you actually activate your power that it really flares with, with light. And he says, gestures at your dragon mark, and says,
House business?
No. No, I'm not here on house business. Just meeting some friends.
Forgive my nosiness, but is that a Syrian accent I detect? I have an ear for these things.
It is, yes. And where? Sorry, who are you?
I'm so sorry. And he, with the kind of flourish of a close-up magician, this card appears in his hand, a business card, and he hands it to you.
And it says, Doros Epserin, of the Korenberg Chronicle. I'm a reporter.
Oh, good.
And yourself?
Diria.
Diria? Diria de Kenneth?
No, no, just Diria.
just the... You're a siren.
Working on a story?
When am I not? The work of a reporter is never done.
Yes, that's what I was afraid of. I mean, that's what I expected.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to have... I don't mean to intrude, but you're not the Deria. You don't happen to travel with a hobgoblin, do you?
Normally.
Is that's that big gentleman? Then that would, if you're Deria, that would make that Kalad.
Hello. Yes.
You're coming back.
You know of us. How is it you know of us?
A good reporter never reveals his sources. But I assure you, Miss Deria, I intend no harm from you whatsoever. But I had something come to me. A little word came to me that the survivors of that camp, that Karnathi camp, were coming together on the day of mourning. And I mean no disrespect to you. I can't possibly imagine the loss that you and your folk have gone through. But I think it's important that people know about that. And you see that somehow with that same flourish, there's a notepad out with a little quill that's sort of like writing on its own as he's talking.
I somewhat disagree with that, actually. I believe that it would be better if nobody knew what happened there and we just moved forward. Why is it everybody keeps having to poke at the past and pick at the scars?
Well, if you're not mindful of your wounds, how do you prevent from hurting yourself again?
How do you let them heal?
Well, if you haven't been to Sharn, I take it you haven't seen Highwall then. The neighborhood.
No.
Have you been to New Seer? Where the surviving prince...
Everything that happened before the morning is in the past, and it can stay in the past. I'm only coming to this because of friends, so...
I understand. I think you'll find there's a lot of people who are very much stuck living in the present because they've nowhere else to go. But I don't wish to cause you any offense, Miss Deria. And he sort of flourishes, and that little thing that was writing down goes and kind of sits itself in the top of his notepad. And I'll give you some peace.
Thank
I
you.
hope you find what you're looking for in Sharn. And he hops up and...
I hope you get the story that you're looking for. I just might not be the one to get it from.
I'll keep it in mind. And he kind of winks at you. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your trip. And he kind of heads back in. And around that time, we see the door opens and Kalad walks in with a couple of drinks. And Kalad, why don't you give us a insight roll? Hold on. I think I got that wrong. Wait. Oh, I don't think it's insight. It's called investigation. Or is it insight? I don't know.
No, I think
There's both. There's insight and investigation.
Oh, there we go. So let's do insight, please.
All right,
Yeah.
insight.
Insight's more about motivations, investigations.
I'm going to grant you... so what I was going to say is I'll grant you advantage on it because you know Deria incredibly well. So with a crit success, Deria, what do you think that Kalad sees on your face right now? Or sees from your whole presentation?
I think she's just like really she's way more tense than when she was when he left, and it's like something got her all worked up, and like her neck muscles maybe are just like super tight, and she's maybe gripping her pliers really harshly.
Kalad, do you say or do anything, or are you just thinking?
I've got the gnome left, right?
Yes, he's walked elsewhere into the cabin.
Okay. So I'll set the two drinks down on the like table between us, I'm imagining. kind of classic train style, and sit down. And I'm going to try to sort of detense the situation, and say something like, "Oh, I was worried I would have to share my drink with him."
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reporter.
Laughs, Styria.
All right. So you sit down, and what is it? Is this sort of what's typical for the reaction or the interaction between Deary and Kalad? Like, if she is disturbed, she just needs her time, and rather than to get into it, or
Yeah, it's like a cooling off process.
yeah.
She just processes and moves forward, and Claude knows not to poke it and leave it be.
Okay. Am I correct that Kalad may do that that irritating thing that some people do? I know I do this, where you like idly drum on stuff, like you're tapping on the handle or you're tapping your foot or something like that.
Yeah, I think he does the kind of finger tapping thing on the table next to his drink just a little bit.
Okay. So I think that's where we leave those two heroes. And what we'll cut to is, let's talk about Sharn, guys. So Sharn is known as the City of Towers. And for a good reason, because as you... Oh, I think I need to just reorient this shit in the middle here. There we go. There we go. So, Sharn is built of a series of enormous towers, some miles high. And these towers can be like 600 feet or so at the base, and there are interlocking walkways and whatnot that is back and forth between all of them. And as I said before we went live, the city itself is the elevation of the city is also a expression of kind of a physical geographic expression of your place in the hierarchy. I selected some of these images here from the original, either the original Eberron book or the Sharn City of Towers book, because I think they do a really good idea of communicating a couple of things here. For one, how cosmopolitan Sharn is. Sharn is the most cosmopolitan city in all of Corvair. Nowhere else can you find the massive variety of all the different races and ethnicities and cultures as you can in Sharn. There are neighborhoods across all the different wards where you can find a Karnath neighborhood, you can find a Goblin neighborhood, you can find Highwall, for instance, as well, which is the Siren refugee. And then the illustration over here on the right there, that's a good idea of what living in Sharn is like. There's flying things, there's a whole section of the city called Skyway that floats above the entire thing. But Sharn is not untouched by the war, and one of the towers, in fact, was destroyed by a cataclysmic terror attack during it, and it left the city scarred. There's a number of other things as well, too, but Sharn just carries on. The two maps that I've got on here, guys, there's the vertical city, which shows you how the city is divided into the different elevations. And then on the bottom, I've got another map there that gives you the different neighborhoods. The way that they divide the, or maybe they're called districts. The way they divide up the city is by district, then by ward, and then by neighborhood. So where you guys will be all arriving is in Tavik's Landing, right along there. And that'll be, unless you're arriving by airship, which none of you guys are, it'll be on the lower wards. And let me just quickly share some handouts with you so you guys can see some of the other stuff here. There we go, share, boom. There is the lower wards. Terminus is where you guys will be arriving. On the right side there. You can see where the lightning rail train arrives, and then where the overland Orient trade route arrives as well too. Erlich, you arrived through Roan's Gate there, and Terminus is where the rest of you guys would arrive. If you have the 5th edition version, or if you have the very cool separate handout in the book, the The Eberron, The Rising from the Last War Gold Edition separates all these things into separate chapters. So you got a handy little separate way of looking at. There we go. Just the Sharn chapter. Where is it here? Is it in here? The Lightning Rail? It is not. It's in a different chapter. But anyway, there's that. There is the side view for you guys if you need to look. And what cuts around each of these things as well is there are floating platforms, there are flying skiffs, there are flying people, there are hippogriffs under the command of House Vidalis that are either rented or otherwise. There's harpies, there's gargoyles, there's all sorts of things that go flying and flitting around. Sharn is nothing if not a constantly active city. Yeah, and there's your street view as well, too. Boom. Okay. This is the city that we see. And we can hear all the noise and the people speaking in a variety of different languages, but then we cut inside. And what we see is the interior. And the neighborhood that we're seeing through, we can tell that this is very low. This has got to be in the lower wards, because we can see looming way, way up are the massive towers. This is near the very base of these things. They're huge. And no space, vertically or otherwise, is wasted in Sharn. So as you can see in here, there's houses built on the side of towers and then on addendums to them and whatever. It's in one of those apartments that sort of leads out of the side, and there's winding walkways and whatnot that lead down and further up, and there's walkways that cut across. We can see that there is a very, you might call it a hovel, but it's definitely not a nice place. And when we cut inside, we see all the lights are off, someone is sleeping. And then this person sort of jerks awake and is, sits up in bed and kind of looks around. We can see that this person is Val. Val, another bad dream. You get up and we can hear a voice from somewhere in the darkness as well, too, a woman's voice. And the woman says, "Bad dreams, Val? I could sing something for you." And Val, of course, you know that this is your ever-present companion, Mother, a Warforged who originally belonged to one of your former companions, Diria, but was gifted to you at the end of the last war. What do you say?
Sure, Mother. What about one of those jaunty tunes? It's going to be a good day.
Of course. Whatever you want, Val. And then you can see this sort of like the music begins playing from his outstretched hand. And there's some... Would you want a light show as well, too?
Sure. You can see he's like rubbing his leg like he has to when he first gets up from the tightness in it. Yeah,
so we see that he's actually missing his left leg, but sitting
good.
next to there is a magical prosthetic leg.
All right, good. That's better.
And what you see for those... Where did I put it? Oh, boy. I've misplaced it. Helps when you don't misplace the things, but there's handouts. There's cards, magic item cards for all the things that are in there, including your magical prosthetic leg. So you take that, and what does it look like, Val? Is this a prosaic thing, or is it something really special that was made for you?
Did Diria have the ability to have really nice things? Or?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yep.
I think I like the imagery from like the Warforged that they have in Eberron. So obviously probably made out of wood with fine filigreed metal or something, coming off of it in some ways, which he often has to hide because he's afraid that some bastards will try to steal it.
It is, yeah. And there's certainly a huge demand. In the same way that there's sort of like the proliferation of lost limbs and whatnot after World War I, same thing here. It is not uncommon to see magical prosthetics with many veterans. Again, this is less than 4 years since the morning, so the war is still very, very fresh for very, very many people. But you're right that today is going to be a good day, because today you're meeting Diria and Kalad and Erlich. down in the what do you call it? Tavik's Landing. They're coming at the request of your other friend, Camiello Lonzo. So what do we see as you sort of get together and get yourself down there? What Mother says is, Val, the lightning rail should be arriving soon.
We should be moving at it then. There's a tankard nearby that he kind of rattles more like a spout. Hear a bit of a sloshing in there, so he drinks it down. That's better then. We should be on our way as he puts on all of his garments and accoutrement that he usually carries during his process.
Nice. So you get yourself all set up, and I once you've got your leg on, you would certainly there's no like unevenness in your gait. There's no way to tell that absent seeing your legs, your pants lifted. No way to tell that you have a different leg on. So you get yourself all on. You are all dressed up, no doubt wearing the same clothes you were yesterday. Am I correct in thinking you got kind of a rumpled look to you?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. Are you bringing Mother with you?
I think they would like to see her.
Okay. So here's an interesting thing about Mother, and is that Dave? You I think know the backstory of Mother. What's the story with Mother?
So, do I have it right that Diria lost her mother? Or programmed the Warforged with memories of her mother singing songs and her voice and images of her mother. And then at the end of the last war, just couldn't handle having Mother around anymore because it was a bad reminder of family that she'd lost. So she sent Mother off.
Yeah. Mother was originally hired after our heroes made their escape from Camp Karkass to keep Diria safe. But then when the morning occurred and you lost your mother, the constant sound of her voice was a bit much for Diria to handle. Plus, Val could use some looking out for. So, Mother helps you get ready. And
I would have to guess that means Mother was with us on like fighting missions during the war after we.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. So what we know is that our four heroes formed a unit, a special unit within the Siren army after their escape from Camp Karkass. And while their unit did have another official designation, the 3rd Detachment Battalion, whatever the fuck, what really everyone called them were the Orphans of Karkass, the unit that was put together from the leftovers of the survivors of Camp Karkass, a paladin, a hobgoblin bard, a human artificer, a renegade of the dragon-marked house, and a scout. And then to that, they also added a powerful warforged, someone programmed with the martial skills necessary to sort of lead from the front and protect Diria. Now, however, we see Mother dressing Val and helping him get things together, and sort of tidying up in the kitchen. Mother does not have like the attached shield and attached sword you see in the illustration. You can sort of see this machine or whatnot of war creating or cleaning things up in the kitchen. And one thing I should make clear as well too is that Warforged are not magical robots. I joke that we call them that. They have souls, the same as any other creature. It is not a metaphysical question. It is clear fact that's been determined by the magics and the smiths. As a result, while the Warforged were created as weapons of war by House Cannith, your house or your former house, Diria, after the Treaty of Thronehold that formally ended the war, the Warforged were granted rights. So they have a free choice as to where they go and what they do. They're not owned by anyone, not any longer. But Mother,
a suggestion to go with Val. It wasn't an order or.
No, I think that she probably knows more than what or understands more. So what do you think that Diria told him? How did she sell it to Mother or tell Mother that look, Val needs to be. And Hobbs, feel free to chip in. What is it that Val? We know that Val had some real hard times afterwards, and we know he has some difficulty with, you know, the drinky as well. What do you think that it would have provided the excuse for why Mother had to go with you?
Well, I mean, maybe there was some sort of brother-sister relationship with Diria that grew from being in Camp Karkass, and so everyone recognized that he never necessarily dealt well with losing his leg, and pretty quickly fell to the draw of drink to try and, you know, self-medicate versus depression.
Yeah.
So when everyone else left and he went to Sharn, she didn't want to go with him, but at the same time didn't want him to go alone. Or maybe vice versa. Like, maybe, I don't even know, maybe it was Val who said, no, I can't do this anymore hanging out with you, so I'm going to go, you and Kalad, so I'm going to go to Sharn. And at the very least, she forced him to swear that he would stay with Mother, or Mother and he would stay together.
Nice. Yeah. So then, for the 4 years since, that's through thick and thin, Mother has been your constant companion. So what we see is you leave your house, followed by Mother. You're kind of getting together the Eberron equivalent of a cigar or a cigarette or a pipe or whatever, and Mother, of course, dutifully locks up your little hovel apartment, and you guys start heading your way through. And as you wind your way through, making your way down towards the different neighborhoods, cutting across different walkways, down stairways that run along the outside of the towers. You're cutting through a little alley when you hear a voice, actually, that you recognize. And that's what we see step out of the shadows. There's a little dwarf. And you know this. This is Durnham. And he steps out and just sort of blocks your way. And you can see two other forms standing in the shadows as well, too. And you know darn well that those are his two Warforged enforcers. And what he says as you are making your way through is, Val, I suppose you think you're taking the long way to come meet with me, hey? Because I know that you told me yesterday that you are going to come and see me. Now, Val, you know that Durnham has connections with the most powerful criminal enterprise in Sharn. That, of course, is Boromar, the Boromar clan. And the Boromar clan is, we talked about this before we went live, but for those listening at home, the Boromar clan is one of the founding families of Sharn, and they are corrupt to the one. They are the people behind most of the organized crime in all of Sharn. And Durnham has the ear of Clan Boromar. Val, it's some errand that he wants to send you on, that he thinks that you're entitled to do it, but you got to get to the lightning rail. And because your backstory of your connection with Clan Boromar has come up, you guys get another point of astonishing fortune. So you have 5.
Nice.
So what do you say, Val?
The day's not over yet, Durnham.
No, but...
Well, we can see it's just getting started.
But Val, yesterday's done already. And yesterday's when you were supposed to see me. But
it's a new day. You know, we've all got our tasks, and for right now, this one supersedes. I've already got a job, Durnham.
I hear you've got a job. More old friends, eh? You know, those sirens, they'll get you nowhere. They've got a pot to piss in no longer. Nor a land to call their own anyway. You were right when you threw in with Boromar, Val. You sure you don't want to come back again? You know they'll be happy to see you. You hear Mother from behind says, Val, they will be arriving. And Durnham's 2 Warforged step out. What do you say?
Now, to give you context for this is a guy who you probably could take him,
Yeah.
but the cost
No,
that would come from it, right, would be... But what do you say?
Not what I want.
Yeah.
Let me deal with my Sirens, as you said, and once this job is over, we'll see what we can do then, Durnham.
So he looks at you. Well, let's get some dice rolling here. So why don't you give us a persuasion check? And remember, if your Astonishing Fortune, you guys can spend 2 of it to re-roll, or you can spend 1 of it to have advantage before you go. I'm going to be fairly free, fast and loose with advantage too. So if there's a situational benefit that you think you can cash in, please feel free to use that, like a bribe or something like that, or I don't know, whatever better idea you guys can come up with. What do you think, Hobbs? He's going to roll, or are you going to Astonishing Fortune beforehand?
Well, I there's no way I would feel comfortable with using Astonishing Fortune already.
Okay.
I do have an eye for detail, though. Do I feel like this is like he realizes this and knows that like it's possible to
Give me an
draw
insight.
in at another point?
Yeah. Give me an insight roll. Let's see here. What is eye for detail?
Wisdom. It says wisdom perception check to spot a hidden creature or object, to make an intelligence investigation check to uncover or decipher clues.
Okay.
I should just-
Yeah,
let's just do this.
let's see here. Oh, excellent. Awesome. Thank you. Wisdom perception. Yeah, go ahead.
We can do whatever we want, obviously.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be, I think it'll be insight, only because I think you're judging this guy's motives. It's not so much seeing something or finding a clue. You're trying to judge, like, why the hell is this guy here? I'll give you advantage because of your criminal connections
Alrighty.
on that, in fact. So let's see. 24.
Nice.
This is more of the bullshit. They sort of like Clan Boromar. The reason that they really haven't finally come down and done something, final with you, or something that is wild, is because they think you're that good. They really want you back. So this is more of the usual harassment. He's going to give you some bullshit task. He's going to tell you that you'll pay for the, for not following on with him. But you will, he's not going to, he's not looking for, there's no actual task he needs done. There's no urgency to this whatsoever. It's just the usual him coming around and causing problems for you.
So I'm pretty sure my line will most likely work.
Yeah. So I'll give you advantage on that. Which is good. Is that 5? Sure. All right, so he looks...
Campaign's over. No.
Yeah. So what is your line?
Oh, the one that I just said, basically. I'm going to deal with this job now, meet up with my friends on the anniversary of the morning, and perhaps after that, we'll see what we can do to help you.
He kind of strokes his beard. He waits, and you already know with how good your other roll was, he's just doing this for effect, so you're sort of tapping your foot. And he then says, all right then. Don't you forget it. We've got an appointment tomorrow. And he taps you as he walks past you. Come on, boys. And the 2 Warforged start following behind him. Enjoy your holiday, Val.
He turns to Mother as they're walking off. Did I say one day?
She kind of shrugs. Okay, now we see you continue down in the alleyway, and then we cut to what we see is a very, very busy lightning station. This is the lightning rail station. There are people coming and going from dozens of different nations. It's, if you picture sort of like a combination of any train scene from Casablanca with any like holiday time busyness of an airport, with people coming over. There's greetings, there's tearful goodbyes, there's just a huge and active crowd from a ton of different races and different peoples. And what we see, though, as the camera kind of goes across, is that there is this one, as in all places in Sharn, shadows are not hard to find. And we can see that underneath the alcove, there is a figure who looks to be homeless. And he's got a cloak kind of wrapped around him, a small little traveling satchel near him, and his boots and pants that we can see are covered in the dirt and grime from road travel. And the only source of light from within there is a bit of a flare from his eyes. George, what do we see?
So Erlich's got basically dark circles under his eyes, and his kind of black shaggy hair is like falling over his face, and he's huddled in there in this little space, and he's got this piece of chalk that he picked up somewhere, and he's just drawing madly all over the walls. And like when you pull back, you see like he's just covered this entire space in these weird sigils and symbols, which are not any kind of arcana or draconic writing or anything. They're just bizarre, random. And it's almost like, you know, it's just coming to him and he's trying to get it down as fast as he can. And suddenly he stops and he looks back at the whole thing and no, I had it. Oh, no.
And what we see is two members of Sharn's watch kind of come walking over. And they're like, all right, buddy, all right. Come on. It's time.
I'm too close. I'm close. Leave me. I have it.
Val, you're walking out down onto the platform, and you look over and you can see two members of the watch. And it takes you a minute or two to look, but is that Erlich? And as a reminder, when all of you guys last saw Erlich 4 years ago, he was a paladin. And I mean, he was the archetypical paladin. He was the clean-cut, you know, good, church-going paladin who wanted to take up arms and fight evil and shit like that. This guy looks like a Kyber-touched, you know, madman.
Now here's someone who needs a mother.
And Mother kind of cocks that and says, is that Erlich? What's happened to him?
And he's like tussling with the guards, like trying
No, get off me! Get off me!
Who knows, but we should help him if we can.
Okay. So you can, I think you're well known enough to sort of some of the guards. So how do you smooth this over? What happens, what do we see as you walk over to Erlich?
Don't worry about this, fellas. I'll take care of it. He won't be defacing your good Sharn towers anymore. Erlich, what is it, man? Come, let's have a drink. Friends are coming.
So he's still like arguing with the guards, and he hears the voice, and there's like something deep inside that like registers, and he swings around and he sees Val, and it's like, no, you're dead. Aren't you dead? Wait, did we die? Are we alive? We're still alive?
So far, so good. Here, have a drink.
Mother steps forward. Erlich,
Ow, right?
are you well?
I'm fine. I'm close. I am so close.
Would you like me to play a lullaby?
That may help calm the spirit that talks.
She once again puts her hand out, and phew, this image appears, and music begins. And it's around that time when come riding in. Picture the sound of a train, but you add in the crackling arcing of electricity jumping back and forth on a Tesla coil. And that's what you see as the lightning rail comes rolling in to Tavik's landing. And after, you know, steam comes up from the side and it fills the platform, and then slowly the doors begin opening and people begin kind of spilling out from it. And Val, you've got definitely the most keen eyes of everyone here. You easily spot Diria and Kalad stepping down and sort of looking back and forth, trying to figure out where they're going.
So Val is offering like some kind of mouthwash for Erlich, because he doesn't seem like he's necessarily bathed in quite some time.
Yeah.
And brushing some stuff. And then he's, you know, spots him across. It thinks about sending Mother, but then remembers Diria's last thoughts, and so he's like, he calls over, waving his hat.
Okay.
Hey, Diria, Kalad.
Diria and Kalad, you see that. You have some luggage that you need to collect from the baggage car as well, too. But Diria and Kalad, you both can see, oh, it's Val. And same thing, too. You guys both have to do a double take. Is that Erlich? And is he splashing mouthwash on his face?
He's just drinking it down.
And Diria, what's going through your mind seeing both Val, someone who was like a brother to you, and seeing Mother again?
I think, all this talk about leaving the past behind and suddenly getting a rush of 4 years ago, last time she's seen everybody in the same place, and swell of emotions of like regret. Maybe I, should have spent more time with my companions, or I don't know. And then she looks over at Claude and the work that they've done, and just trying to put everything together, but it's too much all at once.
Yeah. Claude, what about you? It's been so long since you've seen your companions.
Well, I think so. One of the things I was thinking is that I probably went with Diria because kind of my particular background sort of tied in with hers in a sense that because I wasn't Siren, but I kind of joined with these guys because of surviving the camp, and the idea of Diria sort of giving up a life of privilege to fight for what she believes in sort of appealed to me. And then seeing Erlich in this state is sort of a realization that, maybe I should have been out protecting him or something like that instead. And a little bit of, Val had Mother, but he's clearly in, not perfect condition. I can just tell.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to have been a little worse for wear over the course of the years.
Okay. So you guys
and maybe even I look back at Diria and kind of realize that we're both a little worse for wear too, and I just hadn't noticed because it happened so incrementally.
Yeah. So you do have to. Someone has to collect the luggage from the baggage car. Who do you think is going to collect that?
Hey, Claude, you got the drinks earlier. I think I'll go get the luggage.
All right.
Can't.
Just totally not normal because you're always offering to do stuff.
Oh, I figured I would do it normally, and that this is
Nice.
Another stalling point not to meet up with the rest of us, probably.
So, Claude, you head over, and what do we see as Claude walks over to Val, Erlich, and Mother?
Val does one more brush of Erlich's obviously nasty-looking clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tightens his own, lapel. Hey, finally, Claude. It's the day. Good to see you. You haven't aged a day.
Hey, Claude, I can prevent the mourning. I can prevent it from happening. It won't happen.
There's one or two heads that snap to the side as you say that on the platform.
Seer will be fine. It's fine. Nothing will happen to it. Don't worry. I'm very close.
Erlich, there's been a lot lost over the centuries. This mourning is I understand what it means to you, but everyone has lost a lot, and maybe it's best to keep those ideas quiet for now.
Oh, right. Yes. Don't want the power to fall into the wrong hands. I understand. Yes. Keep it to ourselves. Just me and just me. And he kind of turns off.
And yeah, Kellad will sort of look at Val like, has he been like this the whole time?
Yes, the whole time that I've seen him, about 10 minutes ago.
Mother leans in and says, I do not think that Erlich is well.
Mother, I think we might all be a little unwell, unfortunately.
Would you like me to play you a lullaby?
No, I think we should wait, and perhaps I'll play something later.
Very well. It's good to see you, Kalad.
It's good to see you too, Mother.
So we cut to Diria sort of making your way through the crowd over to where your steamer trunk will have been dropped off, and you can see that there's a ton of people who are claiming their own luggage. There's employees of House Orion. House Orion is one of the Dragonmark houses. They're the ones who run the Dragonmark lines. And they're dressed in the uniform and sort of like, no, give me your claims ticket. And you walk over and get your steamer trunk. And as you grab the thing, someone else puts their hands down on it and says, I can help you with that. Small fee. And you look up and give me a perception check, please. Holy shit! So you
Really distracted.
Yeah, you initially say the this person looks like they've had the bejesus kicked out of them. They look like they're a street person, and they look like someone who's just quite possibly may have been trying to steal your luggage and is trying to cover for it. And this man says, "No, it's fine. Your 4 tells me that you don't know this person from Adam."
Okay, I just want my things. And
Uh,
she's still thinking about her friends and how she's gonna deal with this.
So he doesn't seem to be letting it go. You're going to have to, if you want to try and get it from him, you're going to give me an athletics check, please. Like, sir, or you can call in on one of the, House Orion guards or something. What do you think, Diria?
I thought we lost him for a second.
No, he's thinking.
I think I'll do athletics.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, it really
I've been
takes
in a
very
big
little to
knot.
shove this person off, staggers back, hits one of the Orion attendants, who kind of spins and shoves him and like, "Hey, I've told you before." And the guy kind of loses his balance, falls down, and you can see as his jacket falls open. He has one of his whole arms it's a prosthetic limb, but it is one of the shittiest ones you've ever seen. It is a very, very crude model. It doesn't seem to, it seems to be locking up. It's in this weird, angled pose, and he's trying to keep himself up with it. And now that you've seen that, and you see a second look, you kind of do a double blink, and you're like, Sorello? And this is Sorello Nagellas. Sorello was another veteran held at Camp Karkass. The last time you saw him was 5 years ago, when you guys escaped and you left Sorello behind. He was never part of any of your units, but he was someone that you knew from there. And you have not seen him since the night that you escaped from Camp Karkass. He doesn't seem to recognize you. What do you say?
Diria puts her hand out to help him up and says, Come with me, my friend."
He kind of flinches and says, "No, don't hit me." And he looks up, and through the one eye that's not swollen shut from, no doubt, the ass-kicking that was received last night, he looks up at you. Is it... Diria?
Yes, Rella. Come.
And he sort of scrambles to his feet, and the House Orion, porter says, "Hold on, leave her alone."
And now Diria, she doesn't play up the fact that she's got a mark, but she basically puts that other house in line and uses her maybe a little over aggressive in barking at him.
Yep.
To protect her friend, and
Yeah.
basically tells him, "Back off, not your problem. I'll take care of him."
He kind of, he steps back and kind of looks at the two of you, but then someone else calls for help. He turns, goes to deal with them, and it's no further concern. He kind of blinks, the one eye that's still good. What are you here for? Why are you here? What are you? I thought you died.
No, there's a few of us that are meeting here. Did you,
Wait,
what are you doing here? Do you live here?
who are you? Who are you meeting? Few of you. And he looks over, and you can see the rest of you guys. And I'll say one or two of you look over. Val, give me a perception with check with advantage, please. Yeah. So you look over, and you can see Diria talking to this guy, and your eyes sort of narrow, and Jesus, is that Sorello?
So I have a question for you.
Of course.
Why wasn't he a part of our escape group?
The
Do we think maybe he was maybe we didn't like maybe part of our group didn't trust him as much and so convinced the others not to tell him? Or
I think so. What I'm thinking is that it's probably a combination of just like
proximity?
yeah, like he was not part. He was not so close to you guys that you would have. He was part of your cadre. That would have made the plans. But the trouble is that
The construction of the device would only allow for a certain amount of weight, and if we'd have taken too many people, we would have sunk into the water.
yeah, it would have
Or
been
maybe
impossible.
even-
Oh, go ahead.
If he got his ass kicked last night, maybe he's just not as tough as us. That we had to decide like we have to get the toughest people out so that we can keep fighting, and he's
Yeah.
just not as up to snuff.
Because you guys were never, it was never an option to free the entire camp. There was inevitably going to be people left behind, and it just meant that he was one of the ones left behind. But it isn't someone who you intentionally left behind because he whatever. But it's just if it wasn't for your studied eye for faces, and in the context of seeing the two of them together. Now, seeing the two of them together, seeing Val and Erlich and whatnot, and you. He sort of looks back at you, Deria, and suddenly looks a little concerned. Who is it you're meeting? And who you're meeting is another former colleague, Camiello Lonzo, a wizard who was a prisoner. Did not escape with you guys either, but wasn't wasn't escapee later. Or rather, it was someone who survived it somehow, either through prisoner exchange or whatever, because that did happen over the course of the war, too.
Well, I came here with Kalad. We've been together for a while, traveling, and we're meeting Val and Mother and Erlich and what was the other guy's name?
Camiello Lonzo.
And Camiel Alonso.
I'll show you what Camiello looks like, just so you got the name as well, too. Here you go, guys. This is what you remember Camiello looking like.
Is he on fire?
He is a...
Not what I expected.
Yeah, Camiello is an evoker.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's a wizard. So he kind of looks and says, "What?" And rubs his head. No. This was a mistake. And he steps back and he bumps into that same porter again. He's like, "Hey, I told you!" And he turns and just runs off into the crowd.
Okay. It's going to be an interesting day.
The porter stops and says, "Did he take something?"
No. Just went back to where he belongs in the past.
Okay. Val, as much as you've been an occupant of here for years, Stern is a huge city too. It's like 500,000 people crammed into all these different levels and whatnot too. You're fairly familiar with the people in Highwall in the Siren district. You've never seen him before.
I'll ask. I'm assuming Deary starts to show up. Deary.
Yep.
Good to have you. Good to see you. Embrace or whatever.
Yeah.
Was that Sorello?
She, hey, how are you? Val, good to see you. She'll give you a hug and
your
look over at Erlich. Is this Erlich? Is that you?
Yes. Don't you recognize me? Is it time for another mission?
Yeah, get in line. Let's go.
Okay. Yes. Very, very good. I will lead.
She looks over at Val, like, kind of what the F is with Erlich.
Shrugs back.
All right, Erlich.
I didn't Val send him a message though
Yeah.
I did send him a message like I did you, but
Yeah.
I didn't know he'd arrived in Sharn.
All right, Val, you've got point then. You and Mother. Lead on. Let's go.
Hello, Deria. And it's your mom's voice.
Hi, Mother.
How are you?
It's been an interesting 4 years. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Val has been a boon companion. And she steps forward and leans in. I do not think that Erlich is well.
I believe you're right.
And Erlich like bursts in between them. Is like, I've done all the reconnaissance. I can get us there in half the time. Just follow me.
Okay. And he goes and sits back down. So,
by the way, it's true. That's a feature that I have as an urchin.
She rolls
Nice.
Claude's luggage towards him, and
so the luggage, you actually don't need to drag it with you anymore. Once you open up that steamer trunk, the contents of it can walk on its own.
all right then. She looks for Steel Defender, make sure he's sticking around.
Well, that's in the steamer trunk. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it's in the steamer trunk?
Yeah. House Orion is happy to accommodate most travelers, but having a artificed weapon of war stalking up and down the train, probably not what they want. So, just like with your animals, all Steel Defenders need to be secured in the passenger compartment.
Val, can I bring the pup out in town here?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This is Sharn. Everything is here. Anything
All right.
that you could desire and everything you don't.
Okay.
All right, then she'll just take her tool and do a little. Makes it look like she's opening a lock in her hand, and the steamer trunk will pop open. And then Steel Defender will get out, and then she'll do the reverse, and it'll go back together.
Sure. I think it probably collapses down as well too on itself if you like.
Sure.
Not to Transformer cube stuff, but like to a reasonable size so you can just carry the empty pocket more comfortably. The Steel Defender gets out and it mimics it's stretching and whatnot as if it's a dog or a cat of some kind.
I've been trying to figure a way to get the luggage for him to carry the luggage. That would be really handy. I'm still working on it though. It's got some glitches. It'd be nice if he could pop out and then it would go on top of his back, and then I wouldn't have to carry it all. But
Val sighs, shares a look with Kalad. It's been a while, but Camiello has rooms for you, or I know where we're supposed to meet him or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So let's talk about the layout of Sharn. So I mentioned before we went live that Sharn has a bunch of different districts, and then it also has wards and neighborhoods. So the district, you guys are traveling from Eastern Tabak's Landing all the way over to here. And if you take a look at, let me see here, the lower wards here. So you'll see that you guys are going from Terminus. It's not Tavok's Landing, it was Terminus. Tavok's Landing is way high up. Over to High Walls. High Walls is the tenement slums where the Syrian refugees live. However, where you are to meet up with Camiello is his house, which is, if you see here, guys, in the middle wards. So this is, the middle wards are further up. You guys will need to take some kind of either you'll walk it or you'll take an aerial taxi of some kind, one like a flying gondola, effectively, or you can rent hippogriffs or such. You'll make your way up, and it is, you see where it says Death's Gate there at the bottom right.
Mm-hmm.
That is the adventurers' quarters, and then next to there is Little Barrington. Little Barrington is a residential neighborhood, and apparently they have a place, and by they I mean Camiello and his husband. They have a place right on the border between Little Barrington and Death's Gate.
So he's not living with the other Sirens.
No. So you guys make your way across, and of course, one thing, Val, you need to make sure you hand out to them is, of course, their Featherfall token. This is a very common thing that you hand out. What this is, one of the, not leading causes of death, but certainly one of the ever-present threats in Sharn is if you fall. And not only for yourself, but also for the people you happen to land on. One of the cheapest and easiest ways to get around that is a nice little disposable feather token, featherfall token. Keep this on your person. If you do happen to fall, it'll trigger and you'll fall safely. And my featherfall token came in the gold edition of the Eberron box set, which you can win with the Heroes Save Villages raffle. I was going to put this on, but you won't be able to see it on my person anyway, but it's pretty cool. So you each have that now. So guys, if you do happen to fall, you know that your featherfall token will trigger. I have a magic item card from that as well, thanks to my special box set. So you guys make your way through. There's maybe a little bit of chit-chat back and forth. But when you arrive at the Little Barrington district, it takes you about 45 minutes to get there. Actually, a little bit longer. It takes you to, basically for moving from district to district and from ward to ward. You can see in over here, guys, this is where you can see the difference between the different wards. The lower wards, the depths. So the lower city is the lower wards. The depths are really like the very, very slums. There's a very large goblin population down there, as well as a bunch of other folks that the creatures that would be considered monstrous races from Drome often live there. And there's the cogs, which is like the heart and soul of the city, and then the lava pools underneath it are said to be used by House Cannith to forge things. And of course, moving up, the fancier and fancier things get. You guys reach Little Barrington, and it's a charming neighborhood, but it really is a residential neighborhood. And you guys come up to a beautiful, what do you call it? A beautiful, not mansion, but a nice little place that you can tell is right on the edge. So it's going to have a beautiful view of the hilt, of the bay outside of Sharn. And let's quickly move you guys. Take one more look here at Sharn itself. So you're going to be looking out from that. You'd probably be around here, guys. So you walk up, and there's a little chime that comes from when you arrive, and the door is answered, and the person who is there looks like this. And what isn't evident on the illustration is that on his forehead is very similar to what Diria has. There is a mark. The mark is different on his head, though. And the man answers the door and says, hello. And you can hear the sound of two children. There's two kids, and says, is that Daddy? Is that Daddy? And they both come running over, and there's two kids. And the kids are clearly, from the hair color, their eye color, and in the girl's case, the skin color, they're not natural children of this person. And he looks at you, and what I'd like each of you guys to do is give me let's see here. Give me a history check, and I'm going to give Diria, you get advantage on it. Nat 20 from Erlich. So, Erlich, you can tell me how you want to play this, but with it, Nat 20 is as good as anything. This guy has the marking of House, Vidalis. And House Vidalis is the mark of handling. They have an unnatural magical affinity with training animals. And some say, and breeding animals for that matter.
So Erlich sees to the kids first, and he says, make sure to keep them safe. Keep them safe. You don't know what could happen.
The two kids kind of get back and are like, Danny? And he says, I'm sorry, Val. Yes?
No, I'm Erlich.
He looks at you and then extends his hand to you, Val. Val, I'm so glad to finally meet. I'm Brayton Decker. Brayton Decker de Vidalis. And I'm Camiello's husband. And you'd heard about Brayton, but you had never met him. These are our and forgive me, these are our children, Hajiro and Sienna. And the two kids kind of, step back and are like, I think, and mother steps forward and tries to sort of pacify the children. Would you like me to sing a lullaby? And they kind of look at him, and there's a little bit of a light show that comes up, and a woman's face appears and begins singing. And Diria, it's actually your mom's face.
No, not now. Not now, Mother. Another time, please.
Of course. Forgive me. And Brayton says, I'm sorry, please, come in, all of you. And Camiello told me that you were coming. And let's go to this here, guys. This is...
Oh, boy.
Their place. So you guys are led in down the hallway and then out to like an on-air balcony. And what you can see here, guys, is... Actually, I wouldn't put you here. Let me put you over here. Boom. There you go. And what you walk through, this is a beautiful place. It's not opulent. It's not, this is not a mansion. These are not people who are, falling over themselves with riches, but they certainly are well-to-do. Upper middle class is definitely where you would classify them. And as you guys walk past that platform that's out there, that stands on the outside, it's open to the air. You can see that there is a small collection of hippogriffs that are there, kind of, squawking and bringing. And it doesn't surprise you what any of you know who rolled higher than a 10. So other than Val, House Vidalis is, like I said, the ones that train. They have an incredible affinity for training animals. It's not uncommon for them to use hippogriffs. And in fact, during the war, a lot of air cavalry was hippogriff mounts, trained by House Vidalis. You guys have never met this person before, but what he says is that he and Camiello met shortly after they all came to Sharn. He, like the rest of you guys, was an outcast, and he, after the war, had difficulty finding kind of a home for himself, and the two of them kind of made a home together. Val, give me an insight check, will you, please?
Yeah, buddy.
And I will give you advantage on this because this is something that you probably would know. Yeah. So the Hajiro and Sienna are likely adopted, and they are likely orphans. There's a lot of families that were forged together after the mourning of people who had lost people to try and maintain the kind of Siren heritage. What you can see is everything in here has a distinctly Siren character to it. This is the home of a Siren. What you know is that those who are marked with the mark of handling, they often come from the Eldine Reaches, that same remote location that Erlich is from. So this is someone who has chosen to adopt the accoutrements of his partner's living. So, yeah, Dirian, looking out, you can see the vast hilt stretching out there, the bay that leads then out into I think it's the Sea of Sarlona that is south of Corvair.
Probably sees it, but nothing's really registering. She's just trying to figure out what the next move is. How do I get through this time with everybody and maybe get on the next train out of here?
Sure. And what you see as well, too, is that there is someone else that's been waiting in here as well. And that is, where is it here? Agatar Amaya.
What the?
And let me show you here. Here we go. This is who else is in there. And Amaya is yet another survivor of the camps.
So we would recognize some of these folks, like from being in the camp, even though we didn't know them very well?
Absolutely. You would never forget some of these faces. And Agatar and Camiello likely survived around in the same period. You did not know Agatar terribly well in there, but when he sees you, excuse me, there's a big smile. And he says, my friends, more survivors. And he comes forward and he embraces every one of you, including Mother. Well, Mother isn't a survivor, I suppose, but he looks at you each, and he is dressed in the classic sort of Siren style. Seer has the quarter. What makes up a Siren kind of style is a sensible kind of undergarment or base layer, and then lots of flair. So, there is actually a traditional Siren dance called the Tago that every single one of you would have known. All of the except for Kalad, of course. Although, I mean, as a dancer and whatnot,
My dance is even better.
yeah, you dance a mean Tago. So he greets you as well too, and you can hear that idly playing off of kind of a musical, a magical musical instrument in the background is a classical piece of Siren music. And Agatar says, "So far from that damnable camp." Agatar appears to have done quite well for himself. If you were to guess, and Val, I think you probably know this already, Agatar is a big mucky muck in Highwall. Highwall's not a very... It's a very, very shitty slum. It is not a nice place, but Agatar seems to be one of the richest people living in there, if not the richest. So, what do you guys do?
Did we stop off? Like, is Ehrlich like look like a vagranter? Like he's been living on the street for a long time?
Oh,
or
yeah.
What?
Yep.
Did we stop somewhere to clean him up, or what? Or we went straight here? I guess I don't know.
Your choice. What would you guys do? They've got places to clean up here. Probably better than what
That's
your
what
shitty apartment has.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask. It's our friend Ehrlich has his travels. He just only recently arrived and could maybe take some time to clean up if you wouldn't mind.
And that's when you notice, Val, that Ehrlich
Great.
has wandered off down this hallway.
Well, I noticed. I just was trying to lead it into a particular direction.
Yeah. And Brayton looks and says, "Oh, of course. Ehrlich, my friend, please, over here." And one of the kids, kind of says, like, "That man smells." And Brayton kind of puts his, finger to his lips, and the kids are like, "Hmm." But you were led off elsewhere by Brayton to go and clean yourselves up. So let's bring you over here.
Along the way, I'm guessing you have a lot of different kinds of magic here.
We do.
Where
Please.
is it?
Where is? Perhaps let me show you the faucetry first.
Ah, is this some kind of magical faucetry?
Of course, I'll show you. And this is the soap dispenser. And we sort of leave you guys to clean off. He's very, very patient with you as well too. And even though you're sort of making a mess and knocking shit over,
Yeah, and he takes way too much soap because he's fascinated.
yes, love it. Okay, and back in the main room, you see that Agatar is trying to sort of press you guys. "Val, I don't see you nearly often enough. We live in the same neighborhood. You'd think that we would run, I suppose, different circles, right?"
Indeed, circles are different, but the neighborhood is the same. Can you tell us what? Do you have any knowledge of what Milo has in mind?
No, with Camiello, I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
Milo.
Lonzo. If that's easier, Hobbs, you know him as Lonzo as well too.
I wrote Camiello right on my sheet here.
Awesome. So he says I don't no, he was quite cryptic, although he's been quite, and you look, so he's been quite distracted of late as well, from what I hear. With the anniversary coming, I think that, understandably, as for, it'll be a difficult day, of course.
Do you know, is this all we are? Are these all the survivors?
Indeed. I think it's admirable that Lonzo tried to bring all of us together as well, too, though I still don't know what reason for.
So, obviously...
Can you make Val, give me an insight check, will you?
Obviously, Val has that Columbo look.
Yep.
Really. Because we've already obviously seen one who isn't here, who was there.
Yeah. Let's see here. Nat 20. This guy is fucking lying. He when he says, "I don't know why he's calling you here," it's like as if it's transparent, in bright letters. He knows precisely where. I'm not sure. Diri and Kalad, you can give me insight checks as well too, if you like. And the way we're
ask, was he like a noble or something when we knew him in the camp, or is he like he's made his money after the war?
Oh, you mean Agatar?
Agatar, yeah.
Yeah, Agatar made his riches afterwards.
Okay.
Agatar, he was he definitely was a bit of a wheeler and dealer. The guys who would have shit to sell or trade in that sort of like prison camp economy, Agatar was all over that stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
but it's not like he came from a ton of money and has just sort of settled in. He's definitely worked his way up.
No. And Diria, if you're not, you sound like you're pretty distracted there.
Actually, she walked over to Kalad, and I whispered to Arlen, having second thoughts. Why are we here again?
Nice.
And I think there's probably an instinctive Kalad sort of moves such that he is between Diria and Mother.
Okay. Love it.
Blocking line of sight for her.
Yeah. And
Val's wandered off to a where some liquor is placed, and his hand is shaking a little bit as he pours himself a out of a decanter of a small snifter of alcohol.
How about this? Are you trying to conceal from Agatar that you can tell he's lying?
I obviously turned my back to him at the moment, and I've been considering the next words.
Okay. So you get over, and you shake hands, shaking. You pour yourself a drink. The Steel Defender, I guess, is just stalking on the side there. You're not sure what's going on. The kids seem to be following along towards where Erlich is. And
following me around.
That's when you guys hear the sound of an explosion.
Oh, my.
You guys know the sound of a fireball going off. And somewhere back in the house, there's a huge explosion, back the way you came, near the entrance. There's a moment when you all kind of look at each other. Those of you who share the room, what do we see?
Where was the entrance?
Entrance
Val.
is back over to the basically the bottom of the map on the left.
Okay.
Val stalks towards Agatar. What is this? I know you know more than you've said.
So you don't need to make a roll. Agatar's look of shock, and he, because of, I think, building on the nat 20 you rolled before, this is as much of a surprise for him as it is. He staggers back and he's like, what is it? Terrorists?
I'm going to say, Mother, find Erlich.
Fury bolts.
Mother begins running over towards where Erlich is.
Val tosses Agatar to the side, and then with a disdaining look starts to follow the others.
Okay. As you guys, Erlich, what do you do as soon as you hear that explosion?
I am told by the voice to rush down there as fast as possible.
Okay. So you can see that Brayton kind of looks around and is like, what is it? What's... we'll take it in just a moment here, Hobbs. So you guys... I gotta refresh stuff. So you guys go racing down. Let's bring you up into here, guys, into the common room.
Like, hey, I didn't do that.
Oh, sorry. Erlich, you go racing around at the same time, too. Get you down there. Boom. And Mother comes running around, as does Brayton, and the kids are with Brayton, and then Agatar is coming down the hallway as well. And what you guys can all see as you come racing around the hallway here, and this beautiful open chamber here, it has massive windows on the side to allow plenty of light coming in here too. It has those giant columns. The ceiling here is about 30 feet up. And the beautiful, intricately designed marble floor appears to be ruined by a trail of blackened scorch marks. Because you see drifting right in the center. And with the sound of crackling flames and tortured cries, you see this hanging. Guys, we're going to take our mid-session break, come back, and we'll roll some initiative.
Nice.
And that's where it is. Okay. So we'll be back in a moment, folks. And let's see here. Yeah, we'll be back in just taking our mid-session break. And I will be back. We will all be back then to see what happens next. So back in a moment. Ooh. All right. So let's check in with chat here. Howdy, everybody. Flame, what's shaking? Brian, what's going on? Fred, what's shaking? Jeffrey, how's it going? Hope you're having fun at the lake. Nice, awesome. So Fred mentioned in chat about Jason's podcast, his Hobbs and Friends podcast, which is fantastic. Not only because I I happen to be the most recent guest on that. Hey, Brandon, what's shaking? Just in time for exactly. So Brandon mentioned that Eberron Explored just came out as well too, and I did pick up the a copy of it as well too, and I got a print copy coming. It's a nice companion to the contents of the Eberron Rising from the Last War, and it's by the original creator of Eberron as well too. I'll mention as well too, just for sake of clarity, the copy of the Eberron, the gold edition Eberron Rising from the Last War that we're using today is my copy. The copy that the winner of the raffle will be getting is a brand new copy, still in packaging from Beetle and Grimm for when they sent it to us. So that's still a great. Hey, Necrom, what's going on? It is a pretty cool, and if you're playing with it as well too, it comes with an extra, a ton of stuff that I just couldn't incorporate into the adventure, but it includes this awesome map of Sharn too. And the cool thing is this particular version of the map not only incorporates the wards and the different districts, it also incorporates the actual neighborhoods as well too. So you can see that, like, I can't really get it on camera here terribly well, but our heroes are currently right around here, because Deathgate's right here. They're around here on the where am I here? Wrong way. This way. They're around here, and high wall is down here. Yep, there you go. So anyway, one of the just very neat things that they include in the gold edition to help make your adventures at the table even better. All right, so let me zoom in. I'm going to create a little initiative turn tracker here because I think we're rolling some dice here in a momento. Let's see. I'll put the turn tracker over here. All right. How many points of Astonishing Fortune are you guys sitting on right now?
I think we're still sitting on all 5.
5, yeah. And depending on Hobbs, if further to what we talked about before too, just remember that to trigger the Astonishing Fortune, there's got to be a disadvantage at some point on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, excellent. Okay. So then, guys, Dave, I'm going to leave it to you to figure out how your Steel Defender functions. It says it on the in the Eberron Rising from the Last War book. So if you, I know you've got a copy of that as well. Okay. Well, what we can do, guys, those of you who are here, why don't you go ahead and click on your token and then click on Initiative. Let's get some initiative going here. Add a turn. And actually, why don't I not be fucking lazy and get the hit points? And I'm finally making use of some actual accessories that I have as well, too. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'll let you guys see bottom overlapping. Boom. Okay. Nice. And then I'll roll for initiative for this thing. I'll watch out for my Featherfall token. You guys are truly heroes. I rolled a nat 1 for my initiative roll. Okay.
I'm rolling. Hold on.
Okay.
I click my token. Just, I'm up here. Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, and here we go.
Awesome. Okay. Folks, then first up we have Val with his lightning reflexes. This thing is drifting in and it's leaving the scorched trail behind it. It looks up at you lot and begins, it moves its hand up and you can see flame is beginning to spin around it. And it does look pretty much exactly like what you can see in the handout, with a skull and rib cage within there as well. So
I think the first thing that Val would do is obviously he takes points, so he dances past Kalad and Diria and like takes up a position behind one of these posts, and then he's going to look around as a bonus action to see if he can tell what happened. Did it come through the windows or what happened?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah. So no roll needed.
Reaction.
It burst right through the front doors. From where you are, you should be able to see right down the hallway there. It bursts through the front doors, and you can see a scorched trail leading up down there, up the marble stairs, and then into this room. And it sort of, those vacant eyes. There's the constant roaring of a flame too, and it's not like a happy crackling bonfire. It's the angry, furious roar of a blast furnace. So that was.
He's going to draw his weapons, and if it comes close enough, he'll attack it. Otherwise, he's not.
Okay. So then, Diria, what are you doing? Oh, you might be muted, Dave.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Diria looks around and finds something like an urn or a small potted plant or something like that that's sitting on a table nearby.
Yep.
And she casts a spell. So what this looks like is she's got her artificer's tool out, and she kind of sort of waves her hands, and it kind of looks like she's cranking something.
Yep.
And then she takes her tool and pulls back, and you see the kind of like a, I don't know, ghostly catapult arm fires the plant potter at the flaming thing.
Awesome. Okay. Go ahead and make your... click on the spell, I guess.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So yeah, the spell's called catapult.
Very cool. So I got to make a dex save then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. I failed the dex save. So 16 points of bludgeoning damage.
Yeah.
it batters this thing to the side. And it turns, and its eyes leaving a trail of flames flickering behind it. It looks on you and kind of begins making its way towards you. Ehrlich?
And then on my turn, the Steel Defender works on my turn after me.
Okay.
And we'll take a position up in front of me.
Nice. Awesome.
And it's
Ehrlich, you're up
defending-
next. Oh, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so-
Dave, are you
Go
done
ahead,
your
Dave.
turn?
It just automatically is defending on its turn unless I tell it to otherwise.
Awesome. Okay. So it's magical programming kicks in. Ehrlich, what are you doing?
So Ehrlich rushes up, gets to this point, sees the creature,
Yep.
and points his finger at it and says, "You are not wanted here. I call down a curse upon you."
Nice.
So Hex, with bonus action.
Okay, let's see.
And then from his hands comes...
So, if you can click on Hex as well, too, just so we can see.
Oh,
what-
sorry.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
sorry.
okay.
Yes, I will do that. I've got my spell cards out, too, so
Awesome. Nice.
gives me a good excuse to use them.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Normally I'm DMing with this, so it's nice to be able to actually play.
Yeah.
My sheet is not behaving.
It's the little, like, the
There
little,
we go.
what do you call it, this thing?
No, it just wouldn't scroll properly.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, so here we go. Let me go to spells and Hex. Boom.
Awesome, okay. So what does it manifest as?
So there's some kind of black crackling electricity that's kind of like weaving around it.
Yeah.
It doesn't. So what it does is it when I hit with an attack, when I successfully hit, it causes an additional 1d6 damage.
Nice, okay. So yeah,
that's a bonus action.
Okay.
And then I again point my hand at it, and from my palm comes this crackle of energy, pure energy, force energy, an Eldritch Blast.
Nice.
I
like it. Boom.
21.
Holy
so
shit.
1 force damage, but
So 24 damage. Only 1 point of damage. Yeah, so that is definitely a hit.
yeah. And then I guess 3 from the necrotic that I rolled just
Okay,
prior
so
to that.
4,
But
yeah.
That hex I can keep it for up to an hour with concentration. So and this is what it looks like.
Okay. Oh, nice. You're lenticular. Yeah. Love it. Okay. Okay, so that takes actually half damage from the necrotic. So it is not a huge hit, but still a hit.
Yeah.
All right. Then it is Kalad. So your turn's done?
That is it.
Okay, Kalad, your turn. What are you doing?
All right, I'm gonna do like my buddies and take cover over here.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna start, or rather, as I'm sort of rushing up to take cover behind the pillar, you can hear Kalad is speaking in the kind of like High Dakari or whatever ancient language it is that he uses when he casts.
Yep.
And he also reaches out and just sort of taps Diria on the shoulder because I'm going to put Longstrider on both of us.
Awesome. Nice.
So that's one action, range touch,
So
and duration for an hour. And because I cast it as a 2nd level spell, I can target 1 additional creature. So
Awesome.
both of us are moving at an extra 10 feet per round.
Fantastic. Okay, then it is the fiery attacker's turn. So this thing, the most apparent threat right now appears to be Ehrlich. So it gestures, and this fiery bolt that seems to have like a blackened coal or something on the tip of it comes flying towards you. Mother is still up and over here. She has taken basically a defensive stance in front of where Brayton and the kids are. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So it throws us at you. What is your AC, Ehrlich?
My AC is 18.
Okay, so the 1 will not do it. However, that will. So you are hit, and you take... Let's see here. Okay. You take 12 points of fire damage.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
That is the end of its turn. And then it is Val. You're up first. What are you doing? Or next?
Does dash mean you can move twice as far, or what? I mean, you can move 30, and these are 5 foot. Is that right?
Yeah. Dash is a separate action that allows you to move your move again. That's right, guys, isn't it?
Yeah, it's essentially moving twice instead of taking an action.
Yeah, you turn your main action into another move, basically.
I'm like, none of us are really heavy combatants. This is kind of interesting. All right, so I'll dash over to here.
Okay. All right, so you go racing over.
Yeah, trying to split its concentration.
Okay. It sees you moving
use
over.
Yeah,
All right, so
I'll
I'm
try
going
to
to
use
impose... Go ahead, Deb. You go ahead.
I was going to say I was going to use a bonus action to hide.
Oh, nice. Okay, so give me a stealth check.
Cool.
Nice. Okay, throws 13. Its passive perception is... Okay. All right. So it looks over to the... and then looks back at you guys. I am now going to use at the end of Val's turn one of its legendary actions.
Cool.
And I'm going to, once again... Oh, that's what I was checking 1 second here. I think it gets to do...
One of my favorite rules in 5th edition.
Love it. It's a great implementation of some of the ideas from 4th, but in a much more streamlined way.
Totally.
Yeah, love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Not as a player, as a DM, I mean, just to be clear.
So it lashes out again at you, Erlich. You are hit a second time, and you take, this time, only 8 points of fire damage.
I hate it as a player.
Diria, you are up next. What are you doing? I hate it as a player, yeah.
Is this set to, is that just 45 direct? Like,
It's set as a 5th edition rule, so I'm not sure.
Okay, I don't quite have enough to get there. Because I've got a move of 30 plus 10.
Yeah, 40.
Yeah. Okay. My fire spell's not going to work, so I will move forward.
Oh, I have fighting music too. There we go. Let me turn this down a bit. There we go.
I turned my music off.
That is because you don't have a soul.
Oh, no,
You're one of these weirdos who drives with no music in the car too, so I don't want to...
That is true.
Kev, how do I get the infused longsword to... Is that using my spellsmith?
So your what is it, the artificer's infusions or whatever, they last until you decide to enchant something else. You have an infused longsword already.
Okay, so that's already been done?
Yeah, same thing with your goggles of night, your climbing whatever the fuck it is, and your speaking stone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll just move to there.
Okay, so you go racing up. It looks like your steel defender's running alongside as well.
Yeah, so we're gonna I'm gonna move there and hold an action that if this creature comes within melee range, I'll strike it with my fused longsword.
So it is going to, I think, seeing you guys go in, it doesn't have a line of sight to you. I think I'm going to impose disadvantage on the attack against you instead of that the other. So let's just see how it does it. It's going to use another legendary action to try and get you. Nope, a 2 will not do it. So you can sort of picture as you go racing over Deary, it sees you and flashes out with another of these things, but you get to the pillar and it explodes into a shower of sparks. Does not hurt you. Next up is Erlich.
Okay, so he's going to, he's feeling like, he's being told to engage this thing, or get closer. So he moves up, and he eyes this thing, like he locks eyes with this thing, and yet suddenly he starts singing. And it is the most horrific sounding song that anyone has ever heard. It's completely, totally discordant. It sounds horrific, and it's in some language that no one's ever heard of, probably made up.
Yeah.
But the let me click on it so you can see what it is. Spell. There you go. Oh.
We're assuming Mother is keeping the kids
works.
safe for now. She's out of this fight.
Well, I gotta fix. Okay, good. Let me just fix. Let me make sure I don't screw this up, which I think I might have. Hold on. Yes, I did. Okay, that's correct now. Okay, let me get back to the spell. Let me see if it does it. Well, let's see what happens.
Okay.
I don't know
What
if it's-
Can't wait to see what this is.
It's in two different places on my sheet. It's on this core and on spell, so I don't know if they show different things if I click one or the other. But
Okay, so here we go. All right, so I need to make a
DC 13 Wisdom save.
Yeah. Okay, and what level did you cast it at? I
cast
failed
it
to
level
save.
2, so it didn't. So this is what I was trying to see. So it didn't actually add the extra D6.
It doesn't, but it shows you what the it displays what the if you cast it at a higher level, you just add that number in.
It's an additional 1d6 at level 2.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
What it's showing is the higher level cast is another 1d6 that you rolled.
So it's 4d6, or is that? Oh, higher level.
It's showing 3d6 plus.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's what I didn't understand. Okay,
yeah.
that's what I was trying to figure out. Okay,
Okay.
good. 15 total.
So this thing jerks and twists to the side as it kind of like, ah! And you can hear that human voice, or at least the sentient voice, screaming out.
Cool. So I thought that was telling me when I was casting it at level 2. That's what that 2 meant. Okay. Now
Yeah.
I see how it works.
Okay.
I don't play. I only run.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
never have done from this side of the table.
Erlich, are you fit? Oh, and there that would do hex damage too, wouldn't it?
Well, what it says specifically in Hex is you deal an extra 6 damage to target whatever you hit it with an attack, and this is not an attack.
True enough,
It
yep.
is a so I wasn't gonna count.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you done then?
Yes, I'm just continuing the concentration on the Hex.
Kalad, what are you doing?
All right, I am dashing all the way over to here.
Okay.
And then I get a little bit more to come around this pillar, and I'm sort of leaning around the pillar, looking at this thing from a flanking position.
Okay.
And I don't have anything else to do this turn.
I'll use my last legendary action to turn and toss a fire at you. I'm going to give it disadvantage on this because I'm assuming you're sort of keeping cover, right?
Yeah, I'm just sort of leaning out like the head.
Technically, for those listening at home, I know rules is written. Cover is the only thing that actually just adds to the armor class as opposed to giving disadvantage, but I don't care. In case I have
It's
anyone
much
who's-
easier to do advantage and disadvantage.
Yeah. Well, it's just, like cover gives, I think, +2, and then greater cover gives like +4. So
3/4 gives you +5. So
Oh, there
the
you go.
equivalent of disadvantage anyway.
yeah.
My AC is 16.
Both of those, I disadvantage, so my 2, I'm gonna guess, did not hit.
I
All
don't
right.
think so, unless
So-
we're in serious trouble.
Yeah. Now it's its turn. All right. So it sees you all, and I think it's going to turn and spread the love around. It gets one more attack on Erlich. 19 is a hit.
Yes, it is.
Erlich, you take another 5 points of fire damage. And then against
Right.
Kalad, I'm rolling a disadvantage. Nope, that's a miss. Hits the side of the pillar again. Next is Val. What are you doing?
All right. Well, Val's going to move forward. We're doing all of our actions here properly, it looks like. I'm being attacked by a cat.
Nice. Okay.
I can't
Kind
quite
of
get
funny
there.
funny how we all spread out and then we're all attacking from different angles. Sounds very like we've done this before. Maybe fought together.
Awesome. Okay, so Val's making his way forward. Are you done your turn, Val?
Yeah, I think at this point, by the way it's acting, I'm going to use my cunning action
Yep.
so I can determine its best method. Oh, wait a second.
Why don't you click on the cunning action? Let's see what it does.
No, I meant this. I meant this. Insightful fighting.
Okay. Cunning action does give you a little bit of extra move with each round, though, doesn't it? I think you can use cunning action to dash. So if you want to squeeze out some extra movement, you can use your bonus action to do that, I think. Insightful fighting. But you might need your bonus action to do that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I just want to be prepared. So for the next minute, I'll
Absolutely,
be able to
yeah.
always get my
So,
surprise dice.
Give me a insight check, please.
Insight.
Okay. Yep. Definitely. So you can use sneak attack against it, even though, assuming that it can be affected by sneak attack. Although 5th edition is pretty generous with what can get sneak attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can definitely see the weakness in this thing. Is your turn done, Val?
That would be my actual action. Is that a bonus? That's not a bonus action, is it? Oh,
That was a bonus
so
action
I should
and you-
actually have a move still. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to actually spin around this and come at it from the side, maybe.
Okay. Love it.
There. We'll see what
Okay.
happens.
And now we use a legendary action to try and hit Val. Val, what is your AC?
15.
15, okay. Let's see here. I rolled a 16 total. So
That's a
you,
miss.
you're running in and you this thing spins, tags you with it. Oh boy, 14 points of fire damage.
Ouch.
Then it is Diria's turn. What are you doing?
So Diria rushes in. As she's moving in, she sees her companions coming from each direction.
Yep.
She knows Kalad hasn't gone yet, and they've coordinated like this before.
Nice.
And she goes to this spot because she knows that Kalad will move opposite her and flank this creature. And then she attacks with her infused longsword.
Love it. We go.
One-handed because she's still got an artificer tool in the other
Yep.
hand.
18 is a hit, definitely. And so that is 9 points of damage. Awesome. Okay. Let's see here. Come on. There you go. There you go. Nicely done. Your magical sword cuts through this thing. And you can feel that there's substance behind this as well, too. You're not just hitting empty energy. There's something that you're connecting with. Is your turn done?
Yeah, she's actually, as a bonus action, she's going to have the little beastie attack too.
Please do.
I don't think he's on my sheet.
He is.
So
Yeah. Not on your sheet. He's got a separate sheet. Here, I can show you.
Yeah.
Yep. There he is.
Steel Defender. There we go.
Another awesome thing about playing 5e and Roll20, it's super easy to drop and
Well,
drag.
he's going to use his Force-empowered Rend.
Okay. That is not good enough, unfortunately.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So then, it is... I am not taking a legendary action. Kalad, your turn.
Erlich, actually, I think is.
Oh, Erlich, I'm sorry. Sorry, I can't read. Erlich, your turn. What are you doing?
It's good. So he's actually, something's coming back to him and being in the heat of a battle with his former companions.
Yep.
So suddenly these tactics like flood his mind and drown out the voice for a moment. And so he rushes behind this column and presses his back up against it, and he places his hand on himself and heals the wound that he just some of the wounds he just suffered. So that's going to be a lay on hands, which he does, which is, there you go. So 5 points of healing.
Love it.
And that is what he does, and he's getting ready to like come in and help his companions on the next turn.
One interesting thing I mentioned, someone had else had mentioned, Brandon had mentioned the Exploring Eberron book, and one of the things that's neat in that is Keith Baker talks about how paladins don't have to get their power from divine power. It could be from psychic power, it could be from an infernal power, it could be arcane magic or whatever. So if is Erlich's manifestation, is it lingering divine stuff, or has that been supplanted by his new master?
No, I think it's lingering divine stuff. I think there's a part of him that still would like to go back and like worship the sovereign host.
Yep.
And so he wishes that he could, but right now he can't. But like in these types of moments, it sort of comes back to him for that brief second.
I am not taking a legendary action, so Kalad, your turn.
So I have two sort of rules questions before I go.
Yep.
One, attacks of opportunity happen when you move out of range of somebody, and that's basically the only time, right?
Yes. Yep.
Not if you get like pushed around.
Nope. Forced movement. I don't think forced movement has ever attracted attacks of opportunity except for possibly second edition.
Okay. Cool. And then second is so I have the Cure Wounds spell, and this looks kind of necromantic and stuff. Do I think that I could reach out and touch it and do Cure Wounds on it and cause damage to it?
It is quite possible.
Yeah?
Yep.
So I think I might go for that.
Okay.
So I'm going to rush in and do a Cure Wounds. It only says it's a ranged touch and target a creature that you touch, so I don't know what I need to roll to actually hit it.
Just I think in a...
It's the same. You're still just rolling against its AC.
Yeah.
All right. So that is...
you are rolling with advantage now, though, because of your... what do you call it? Because you're flanking with Diria.
All right, 2d20, and maybe I get a strength modifier on that.
Well,
Let's see.
no, I think you use your spell attack.
Yeah, just use.
But it doesn't have an attack, I don't think. Well, let me click on it and see.
Okay.
Because what I want to do is cast it at level 2, and it doesn't have any attack built
Right,
in.
I forgot.
It's just
Yeah.
a touch.
Okay.
So I think I just miss.
Okay, so that is a miss. Now you could spend 2 points of Astonishing Fortune to re-roll. If you
I think
choose.
I will.
Okay.
Because seems like this might be a big hit.
Okay.
Yep. Agreed.
Nice.
Better.
Definitely a hit. Go ahead and roll. So the effect would be 15 points.
15 points of healing
Okay.
or light energy or
Okay.
Oh
And
shit, I'm sorry, I didn't read it. The spell has no effect on undead or constructs because I should have read the end of this thing, so you can't use it the way that I tried to just use it.
so what would you have done instead? You know, your character obviously would have known that.
Okay, so instead of that, I'm gonna pull out the swords.
Yep.
I'm gonna be singing all the way, and in particular, the only word that you recognize in the midst of the singing is Diria, because I'm giving Diria Bardic Inspiration, and then I'm gonna try to slash this thing.
So if you're giving Bardic Inspiration, that's a bonus action, right?
Yeah, that's a bonus action.
So that means you won't be attacking with your offhand weapon.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I think Diria hits harder than I do, so.
Sounds good. Okay, so go ahead and make your attack roll on with advantage.
All right.
23 is definitely a hit. All right, nice. Okay. Excellent. All right, so then on its turn, it sort of looks, or not on its turn, but at the end of Kalad's turn, before its turn happens, I'm spending 2 legendary actions. This thing flares out, and I need a... Oh, did we lose George altogether?
No.
Oh, okay. It is restarting
Yeah.
roll 20. Got it. So I need dexterity saves from Kalad, the Steel Defender, Diria, and Val, please.
All right. Dexterity save.
Yep, Diria. Yep, Kalad. Nope. Oh, yes, Val. Yes, the thing. Okay, so you guys only take half damage from this, but everyone takes, so it'll be 5 points of damage. 5 points of fire damage, because this thing flares out. Then it is on its turn. So it howls out, and it's going to hit Kalad and Daria, or try to at least. Daria, what is your AC?
AC 17.
17.
And it imposes the Steel Defender as a reaction, imposes disadvantage on any attack roll from a creature within 5 feet of you.
Awesome. Okay, so I missed anyway. And then Kalad, I miss you as well too. So it's flailing around. After that initial explosion, you guys were keeping your distance. Val, you were up next. What are you doing?
All right, so my stuff is falling down. Oh no, mic problems. It's a cat. I'm telling you, it must be. All right, so Val comes sliding underneath this creature and strikes out with his rapier.
If you are on the bottom there, you'll be getting advantage. Because you'll be flanking it. Like if you end up down here, adjacent to where the Steel Defender is.
Oh. Whoa, hey. I got some messes going on. All right.
Okay.
Cat craziness.
Yeah.
Cat mess.
That is a hit. So go ahead and roll your sneak attack damage as well.
My mic kind of fell off here. All right, so rapier's there, and
sneak
my
Then just click on sneak attack as well.
attack. It's not the right place. There it is.
Nice. Okay. All right. All righty. Then I'm going to spend 2 legendary actions after that to explode out again. So I need everyone to give me a dex save one more time, please. Oop. Okay. Success. And the Steel Defender. Success as well. Wonderful. So you guys only take 6 points of fire damage. Then it is Diria's turn. What are you doing, Diria?
She will strike out with the infused longsword once more.
Okay, you got advantage on your attack. Nice. Good stuff. Okay.
And the little guy, Force Empowered Rend from the Steel Defender.
Okay, that's a hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
There isn't a damage button, so it's 1d8 plus 2.
Is there not? Hold on. If it's there should be
It
one.
should be rolling damage.
You should click on. You just click on the name, and it rolls the damage for the thing.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay, there you go. All right, so 5 force. Awesome. Okay. Alrighty. I am not taking a legendary action. So, Erlich, what are you doing?
Combat tactic. Leave me out, taking a pot shot with an Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
20 to hit.
Big hit.
And 8 force. I don't. It gets the 1d6.
Yeah, click on Hex.
But, oh, sorry. Yeah, I just. But,
Oh, no problem. 13. Okay.
and then he goes back behind the column.
Kalad, your turn.
All right. I'm gonna try to keep Val in the fight by giving him a spell that I tried to do on the undead guy last time.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do a second level Cure Wounds on Val.
Go. Nice. 12 hit points back.
I'm sorry.
So 12 hit points back, and then I can also do, as a bonus action, give him, as part of that, my another Bardic Inspiration. So that
Now, we forgot about that for Diria. Does the Bardic Inspiration add to damage?
No, it just adds to hit.
To hit. Oh, okay, because you got
It
those.
adds to damage when I use it in a special way.
Got it. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. All right. So then, and then you're giving Bardic Inspiration.
So I'm still singing and all that sort of stuff and sort of dancing around, and I reach out and sort of tap Val, and you can see Val's wounds close up, or him kind of feel reinvigorated, and you also hear his name kind of mixed in with the ancient language, and kind of feel the surge of energy as the sort of ancients, the power of the ancients flows through you.
Yeah. This thing is going to use at the end of your turn a legendary action to try and hit you, Kalad. That is a hit. And you take 8 points of fire damage.
All right.
And then at the end of the round, no, it's its turn. Then it's the end of the round. It's going to spread the love around again. Diria, it's going to attack you, so you're imposing disadvantage.
Yeah, the Steel Defender, that's its main job, is to impose
disadvantage. You got it. All right, so it misses. Wait, does a 16 hit you?
No, my AC is 17.
Nice. Okay,
Wow.
so it comes very close, but you sort of duck out of the way, and then I think it's going to try and hit the Steel Defender. What is the AC for it?
15 natural armor.
15. Okay, so I actually miss with that as well too. You guys have battered it around. End of the round, top of the round. Val Gastori, what are you doing?
All right, Val, from fighting and reinvigorated by his good dancing buddy Kalad,
Yep.
attacks with his rapier.
Okay.
Ooh.
You do have
I think I
advantage
get
because you're on the far
advantage,
side. Yep. That's a big
Nice.
hit. Go ahead and roll your sneak attack
Alright.
damage.
Nice.
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 All right. Big hit. So this thing, as you're tearing at the flames, the substance, the rib cage and the skull and whatever else that's in there seems to be being chipped away piece by piece.
All right, Val feels like something big is going to happen, so I can use my bonus action to disengage and then go for cover behind this.
Great idea, because you can see this thing piercing. At the end, it's almost like it read my mind. At the end of Val's turn, I'm spending 2 legendary actions to, once again, this thing's really unstable at this point. I need a dex save from everybody who's engaged with it, at least.
I'm way down, so I'm going to spend one of our points of astonishing fortune to roll with advantage on the dex save.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice.
Oh, I didn't even need it.
Oh, weak.
It's okay. It's
Okay.
never a bad thing to roll. I guess I only rolled a 16, so that's
Yeah.
not quite good. But
Ooh, the defender failed. Kalad succeeded, Diria succeeded, though. So, that means the Steel Defender takes 14 points of damage. The rest of you guys take 7. Fire.
Okay.
Then it is Diria's turn.
I am down.
Oh, okay. Oof. Kalad is dropped by that last explosion.
Okay. Diria goes to there, and yeah. So she has a bond. It's someone saved my life on a battlefield. To this day, I'll never leave a friend behind. So, ignoring the enemy that's standing in front of her, she will cast a spell on her companion who's fallen.
Awesome. And I think that in 5th Ed, you start at 0, and just whatever you heal, that becomes your hit points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say you're playing on easy mode, but there's, a lot of you guys are getting hurt quite badly here, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kalad, you are restored by Diria's sort of, artificer-style defibrillator.
Yeah, so she summons up this little, worm. It's like a little mechanical worm that kind of jumps out off of her and lands on Kalad, and it, does a little bit of, repair on him and stitches him back up and gives him an injection or something.
I thought you were going to say does CPR like Earthworm Jim.
So it goes over his wounds and stitches him up and then injects him with some kind of little healing or something.
Nice.
Nice. Cool. All right. So then,
Steel
Diria.
Defender.
Okay.
Is a reaction, so it will. Oh, but I'm across. So yeah.
Yep. Okay, so that is a hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
9 force damage.
9 force damage. Pretty good. All right. I'm going to spend another legendary action because I'm not sure how long this thing's going to be around to try and get you, Diria. So your thing can... Do you have to be adjacent in order to get the benefit of the...
Yeah, I lose the...
Okay.
I think on Defender imposes disadvantage on the attack roll of one creature it can see that is within 5 feet of it, provided the attack roll is against a creature other than the defender. So no, actually, it's just getting in the way.
Yeah,
You're not within 5 feet.
You're not within 5 feet, though.
5 feet.
No, within 5 feet.
5 feet of within the creature. And that doesn't have to be 5 feet.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, it does still kind of go up. I got disadvantage on this, and lowest roll is an 11, which means I hit on a 17. So, or an 18, actually. All right, but let's see how much damage you take. Diria, it is 14 points of fire damage.
Jeez.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh my goodness.
So, Kalad, you're restored, and then you see this blaze of flame take down your ally. Then it is Erlich's turn.
So Erlich sees Val, and suddenly he decides he's going to do a shoot and scoop maneuver. He's going to run down here, and along the way, fire an Eldritch Blast off at the creature.
Nice. That is a big hit. Go ahead and roll your hex damage.
There you go.
10 points of damage. Okay. And then I'm out of legendary actions. I'm sad to say, guys. So it's Kalad's turn. Kalad, what are you doing?
All right, I think I need to get Diria back up, so I'm going to use my last 2nd level spell to heal Diria for 10.
10 hit points back, Diria. Nice. Okay.
And then that was my action. I don't think I have any other things to do on my turn.
So I think 5th edition you use half your move to stand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can stand and then you use a bonus action to ready your weapon
stand up
again?
and grab my weapons from the ground or whatever.
Works for
Unless
me.
you have certain classes can do it as part of their move. I can't, or 5 with their move, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. On this thing's turn. Let's see. It looks down at the two of you, and it says nothing. It just... I'm trying to decide if I was going to say something. Like, I don't think so. Okay, so it first tries to get Diria. So with disadvantage, and that one's not going to do it. And then it carries over the flame to Kalad. I don't have advantage on that. That's a miss as well, too. So you guys roll out of the way, dance. There's flames licking the ground. Val, it comes down to you, bud. Can you drop this thing before its next legendary action? What are you doing?
Right, so Val had jumped around and he kind of spins around, grabs the pillar to spin around it and then kicks off of Ehrlich as he's there, as Ehrlich puts his hip to him because they've done this maneuver before.
Awesome.
And then comes running back in and tries to whale this creature.
Okay.
All right.
Come on.
You've still got Bardic Inspiration before.
Yeah, I don't know what I need for that though.
You will.
A D4 you add to it.
A D6 now because I'm
D6.
higher level.
Oh.
Yeah,
So you'd
give us a
add
D6 roll. Come on. All you need to roll is a 2.
Come on.
Yes, there you go. So what does it look like as you defeat this thing, Val?
Yeah, like I said, he kicks off of Ehrlich and only has to take a few steps, and he jumps forward, rictus of a shout as he comes down and grabs his rapier, and it's slashes through it, and it kind of pauses and then disseminates in a smoky explosion. It kind of poofs out.
Explosion, but then what you guys see, something falls out from within.
One of those feather tokens.
Nope.
From whoever got transformed into this.
Camiel Alonso's body.
Oh no. Drew was there to kill us.
He drops to the ground. And you can hear from the far end of the hall, you can hear Brayton. He looks and he screams out, "No!" and begins running over. Mother scoops down and keeps the shield out. "Come, children, I'll play you a lullaby." And brings the kids away. You guys are all standing
Mother's
around.
the evil villain. I know it already. I can tell.
It's the punishment for Jeff not playing. Just kidding. All right. So now you guys have not seen Camiello in a very, very long time as well, too. But the body that falls to the ground is it's definitely him, apart from being dead and pretty badly beaten. It appears to be he appears to have done quite well. There's a vicious slash around his neck. Now.
So I'm gonna kind of look at that and then immediately think Agatar, and with my hastened speed kind of jog up over to here and look to where he was standing. Is he still right there?
He's hiding against the wall, kind of like...
Okay.
Give me an insight check, will you?
Sure he wasn't, cackling nefariously or something.
No. Give us a insight roll, please.
All right. Insight.
Yeah. He terrified. As scared as no doubt you guys were of this thing. So,
Val will go to one knee and look at Camilio.
Camiello.
Lonzo. He checks out Lonzo to see, if he can discern what happened or.
Sure. Yeah. Give me. Oh, you got that cunning eye or whatever thing, right? What was it? The ability that you were trying to use before?
I put it in chat. Eye for detail.
Oh, there we go. Eye for detail. Nice. Yeah. Give me a intelligent. Give me an investigation check, please.
Where is investigation? It should be right here. If only they were in alphabetical order.
So that one's not great. That's not a great roll.
Yeah, 3 and a 5. Nice.
Yeah. Do you wish to spend 2 points of Astonishing Fortune to re-roll?
Nobody's dead, right?
No one's dead.
I counted so we actually do have 4 left because I counted the one that I spent to re-roll the action that I couldn't actually take.
Okay.
You might
We
as well
spent
just
2
spend it.
then, so we have 2 more then.
Yeah, so
you
we have
didn't spend
4 out of
any.
5 because I only spent 1.
Yeah. If any of you guys hit your triggers for your role-playing bonuses too, remind me because I'm a dummy and I will forget.
There you go.
Okay. That's amazing.
I was aggressive to the house guy when I was getting the luggage. I don't know if that was enough. To
Absolutely.
trigger.
Yep. Add another astonishing fortune in there.
That'd be 2 though that I used, George.
Okay, so still be 3 with
We have
Dave's
6.
plus 1
Yeah.
out of 6. Yeah.
All right. So what you can tell, you get Brayton to step back for a moment, and what you can see is that the it's clear there's a cut from here to here. It's a single stroke from behind. Someone murdered him. This is not an accidental death. This is not something else. There's otherwise, you do a careful examination of this, and there are some brands that are post-mortem that have been put on the body. You don't know anything. Are you trained in Arcana?
Not trained.
Not trained, okay.
Professional. Not professional.
No,
That's
okay,
not one of my
so-
professions, right? That's what you're asking.
No. Whether you've got because remember in
Whether you got
5e you're either trained or not trained in skills.
Oh,
Are you?
But
is
I
he,
am
like,
trained in
openly
Arcana.
looking?
If you
Yeah,
point
so
it
am
out.
I.
So what was that? You guys are both. I heard Arlen. I didn't hear Dave. What did you say?
I'm also trained in Arcana. If I see these markings, would I get a chance to roll?
Either of you guys can roll. Why don't you know what? Both of you guys roll, and I will give you advantage. You guys have experience with these markings before.
Nice.
Kalad, you take a quick. Diri, you rolled quite well too with advantage. But Kalad, I think you're the one who sees this. You've seen these kinds of markings before. You are very familiar with them. These are Karnathi necrotic runes.
Yep.
Now, the thing is, though, Kalad. So, Diria, you did not roll quite well enough to do this. You identify them easily as necrotic runes, but Kalad, you sort of look at them. So, you've never seen anything like this, but these runes lack power. So, if you were a skilled necromancer, like, say, the mistress of Camp Karkass, the Lycia Nescus, the woman who took your leg, Val, and replaced it with that necrotic counterpart, these would be infused with necrotic power, even after a Karnathi undead was defeated. These don't have that.
So they're like,
Brayton is crying and says,
Dormant.
"Why? Why?"
yeah, like performative rather than powerful.
Yeah.
Do I know what kind of weapon did the striking, maybe, or?
It is. It'll be a dagger of some kind of short blade. Yeah, we have 21 on that. Absolutely.
While they're doing that, Erlich is like mumbling a prayer over him,
Okay.
and he actually seems the most sane. So that you've seen him so far since you
Sure.
met him. Yeah. Won't
You're-
last though.
Furia looks down at the steel defender and nods to it, and then says, "Self-repair."
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's super cool. Okay. So go ahead and roll the heals for your steel defender. Erlich, would you give me an Arcana check as well, too, please?
Sure. I'm not trying to say no.
Okay. Oh, you're not trained? That's fine.
I am not trained.
Okay. So you get down and you're sort of looking at the magical markings and trying to do what Kalad and Val are doing, but you can't make anything of this. No magic.
Mm-hmm. I see when I see the runes themselves. So that triggers something, and like I stop saying the prayer, and like I just stare at the runes, like trying to make sense of them, even though I absolutely won't be able to.
Sure. So what Brayton is a bit of a mess right now, and he asks you guys to help him back to bring the body to the chamber and to send for the healers of Jarasco. House Jarasco is a halfling house that is halfling dragon marked house that has healing.
Kalad, as we kind of gather up the body, just starts almost unconsciously singing like a dirge or some kind of funeral chant from his people. And
I love it.
There's an element of recognition because you guys have all probably heard this before on the battlefield, but I'm guessing that what's his name, Brighton, has never heard something like this before. Having no doubt experienced loss from over the course of the thing, do you think the guys know the words as well?
Isn't he a throat singer or something?
Yeah, that's the thing. He's a Mongolian kind of throat singer.
Yeah, but they could like whistle sounds too kind of cheery, but kind of like hum along to the tune probably that they've heard it enough times that they remember.
Or they could beat metal on metal to go along with your drumming kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Okay. So
or like does not join in. He's like, no, I can figure this out. I can figure it out.
Okay.
This line here is meaningful.
So they bring the body into their chambers. Brayton is shaking his head and he says, it was to be a surprise for you. It was to be a way of seeing justice, to mark the morning with justice. Thule. He found Thule. And a refresher.
Yep, it's the Death Knight.
Gustavus
Commandant.
Thule was the commandant of Camp Karkass. It says there's in Grey. Is it called Grey Walls? I think it's called Grey Walls. Oh, it'll be on the middle wards. Let's see here, guys. So, yeah, Grey Walls. Grey Walls is a Karnathi district. He says he found him. We found him. Trying to leave behind his crimes from the war. He's here. And he killed him. He killed him knowing that this would come. So, while there is in the coming piece, just to give context here, in the coming piece, there are still the idea of, or the concept of war crimes. There are certain things that were clearly beyond the scope of what was permitted or whatever else in conflict. So it's not nearly as extensive as it is in our world. But, especially after the treaty was signed to wholesale slaughter an entire camp of people.
Yeah.
So with the Karnathi runes being like dormant or not magical, does it mean that someone could have just put them there to make it seem like it was Karnathi, or is that something else?
That is absolutely possible.
That's what it seems like. So Val obviously will be involved with this dirge as another of the survivors of Camp Karkass has fallen. Once we're finished and maybe step out, he'll mention that to Deary and ask her what she thinks about that. This looks like a setup.
Awesome role playing all around. You guys get a point of astonishing fortune.
Sweet.
While we're at a sort of natural pause, do we want to talk about scheduling in terms of, I don't know how much you have planned left, but I'm going to guess it's more than an hour of play.
Not necessarily.
All right.
You guys have...
Well, I'm down with whatever, but
yeah.
I figured I'd mention, because I know how you are about turning one shots into multiple shots.
Oh, no. You mean I always fucking do it?
What does Agatar do while we're mourning the loss of Lazo?
Agatar is sort of hanging in the background for this and watching with shock. You can give me an insight check if you want to try and get a sense of what your read on him is, Val.
I don't feel like he's where our information is, but it does seem like that other guy that we saw. He's really certainly trying. Sarah Lowe seemed to know something was up. I feel like we need to find him.
Mm-hmm.
Insight, is that what I'm looking for?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. If only these were in alphabetical order, I'd be able to find them.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, you get the same read on him as what Kalad does. This guy just seems genuinely upset. He's very quiet as well.
I don't feel like he's the one responsible, but he might be able to. He may know that Sarah Lowe is around or something like that. So I think I may ask him that as things are quiet and once the house healers arrive.
Okay.
Go after another drink and then offer it to him and ask him if he knew that there actually was another survivor, and maybe even murmur to him, "I know you know more than you've said."
You're murmuring to whom? To Brayton?
No, to Agatar.
To Agatar. Okay. So you corner him. It is as you say, Brayton and the kids. If you guys don't mind sparing Mother, she will be dealing with the kids. I think she is quite skilled at that, and she can kind of, that provides a happy excuse for why we don't have to role play an NPC.
Diria's quite fine with that. That works for me.
Okay.
Right.
More than an hour will pass as well too. So if you guys want to spend hit dice to recover, you can feel free to do
I was
that.
actually just going to ask that. Do you guys need any more healing? Do we want to take a rest?
Short rest would be great.
Yeah, you guys while you're doing this stuff, I'm happy to give you the benefit of a short rest. So all of your stuff that would recharge on a short rest recharges, and then if you want to spend any hit dice, go right ahead to try and heal.
So, and at short rest, you can spend as many hit dice as needed. So if you could
Correct.
get a crappy roll off the start, you can do it again.
Yep. Just roll them one by one.
Yeah.
Okay. And in fiction, this is you guys kind of like bandaging wounds and like having a drink and talking around, and the injuries that you suffered weren't nearly as bad as we thought they were. So you get a chance while you're doing this, Val, to go and corner. Tell me about the approach you're taking with Agatar. Agatar, his voice, once sort of like enough time passes, his mouth starts going again. Why, the Karnathi, can you believe it? Those bastards, they'll never let us go.
Yeah, I'm going to come at it from a friendly, as much as I ever have been to him. But then when I get him around, maybe in private, add steel to my voice and let him know a little bit that I do know that you were lying. Not to really say how I know that I was lying, but say that I know you were lying, and you know something of what the intent was here from Lazo.
Sure. Why don't you give me a...
Persuasion is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think so. So go ahead and give me a persuasion check. Yeah, all right. So he kind of looks at you and... Okay. And he says, I knew what he was doing. I knew that he was looking into things. I knew that what he was planning. He wasn't going about it in the most subtle ways. It was easy for us to know. And Thule isn't what he once was. There was nothing to be... I'd heard that Thule had moved to Sharn, but what are we to do? Fight every battle that was left unfinished? We need to move on. We need to go. This is... But
Agreed.
he thought that this was something that was important for him to do, so I said nothing. And he insisted on trying to follow up. Val, he's lying through his teeth. I rolled an insight check for you. You rolled like a 25. And the rest of you guys, I don't think you guys pick up that he's lying.
That seems unusual. When you said we, who did you mean? Who else knew of what Lazo was doing?
Well, that's Brendan. Why
Brayton,
did
you mean?
What I put him? His name.
Brayton.
Brayton knew, and I mean, and he listens in. What do we know about him? He's no Siren. He's not one of us. He's not a survivor. He's not an orphan.
So who in our group is? I think Val is more of usually the good cop, or the quietly just talk to people and try and learn things from what they don't say as what they do say. But I do think one of us is more of the intimidator, who would maybe add that feeling, but I don't know who it is. I don't, but obviously Val would.
I have intimidation. I'm trained in intimidation.
Okay.
I'm nervous about asking Ehrlich to do anything, honestly.
Ehrlich, what is your insight bonus?
My insight bonus is not great. It's -1.
Okay.
In fact,
You're wholly oblivious to what is going on here.
I am role-playing this character as the stats are written down.
Yeah.
We tell Ehrlich when he needs to intimidate people. That's how it works.
Yeah, but his intimidation is great. He's trained and he's got a +5.
Well, it does sound, though, that, like, Val is letting this guy lie. He's playing the Columbo thing. So, and Val, like, you do know, this guy keeps specifically lying.
So Khaled only has a +1 for insight, but he does have +4 for intimidate because he's got good charisma.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So
what I'm
if
thinking
you
is,
let me know, I could probably do something.
I think that I'll let it go at that, and then say something like, "Well, maybe I'll go and check on Brayton and the kids then." And as I do, I'll talk to Khaled.
So he looks up. So he says, "Of course, good to check on him. Good." Now, you guys head off. Now, none of you guys have mentioned Sorello, right? To him. So that, as far as anyone knows, you're the only ones who know that Sorello is still alive. So you head over and check on them. Brayton is. Go ahead.
I was actually going to take that opportunity to let Khaled know that he's definitely lying.
Awesome. Okay.
And I don't know exactly why or how, but it might be your turn. And I'll tag in Khaled basically to grill him as I do go and check on.
So maybe like he steps to the side. Agatar is speaking to someone else, and Val's just sort of like tapping his, or priming his pipe or whatever, and then mentions that to you, Khaled.
And Agatar is still right. He's just next to. He's just on the other side of the room or something. So everybody, I'm gonna sort of wink at Val, and that's also a sign. You guys are gonna stand kind of next to me basically when I march up on him, because I have a thing to save face in front of allies that I get a bonus if you're around.
Nice.
So I'm gonna march up on him and just kind of one big paw on his shoulder. Say, "What do you know that you're not telling us?"
Go ahead and make a intimidation check.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and use one of our points of fortune for advantage.
Nice.
That seems good. And then I get
Whoa, cheapers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he kind of looks at all of you, and what he does is he sees that you are all trapping him, and he says something in an arcane language, vanishes, and he tries to move past you guys. If it's Diria and Khaled and Ehrlich who are in there, I don't know if Ehrlich's paying attention, to be honest.
No, he is. He was actually just about to cast Detect Thoughts, but he will not be able to.
Okay, so why don't each of you give me a... why don't you give me an athletics check, actually, at disadvantage? See if anyone
You know
can...
what happened?
Okay. Whoa, okay, so Khaled and Ehrlich and Khaled, both of you get your hands on him. Oh, and Diria gets him in a headlock. Oh no, because it's a disadvantage. Sorry.
Disadvantage, yeah.
So actually, it's only so Khaled.
Well, I did have my hand on his shoulder.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
So you've got your hand on his shoulder. He's trying to flee, and he's invisible. How the hell does this guy learn how to cast spells? Because he didn't know how to he didn't know how to cast spells before. What do you do?
I think I had kind of like my right hand on his left shoulder, and as he moved, I just sort of turn around and come behind him, and I've got kind of the arm around him.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna think for a second and then whisper something intimidating.
Okay.
No more tricks. Tell us now, or the blades come out.
Okay. He says, fine, fine. And he reappears. And he says, it was Sorello. He met with Sorello. All right? There's another survivor. He met with him and wanted him to come. But he'd done something. Sorello did something to him.
What do you mean Sorello did something to him?
I don't know. He met with Sorello, and then... I don't know. He was upset with something. Val, he's lying about part of that.
That's really odd, because Sorello wasn't in a whole lot of shape to do anything to anybody today when I saw him.
And he tries to shake himself free. He says, you think that people aren't capable of anything when put to their limits? We've all seen the limits that people will go to when pushed. We've all seen that.
What limits will you go to, Agatar? 3 taps with this pipe always means more lies.
Okay. He puffs. I don't know what you mean. I'm just trying to make a living here. You're all living in the past. I'm trying to go forward. Camiello.
Carnathi allies?
No! You think I would ally with them? And that is the most honest thing you've heard from him, Val.
Yep.
Then who is it?
I haven't allied with anyone. Lie.
As always, we are one step ahead of you. It will go better for you if you tell the truth, Agatar. And so far,
I didn't have anything to do with this.
that's not what I asked. Who are you allied with?
What do you mean?
Why?
And he kind of sighs and he looks over at you, and he's got this disgusted look. Instead of that like charming, friendly, kind of demeanor he was expressing before, he shoots a look at you, Val, and says, I think you would know precisely who my allies are. Wouldn't you, Val?
What do they have to do with this?
Well,
They have nothing to do with this, but everything to do with if you know what's good for you, you'll let me go. He's not necessarily lying here.
Right. What did Sorello have to do with it?
Sorello? Camiello met with Sorello, and now Camiello's dead because of it. True.
Where can we find Sorello?
He's down in the cogs, living with the goblins.
You
know precisely where that is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know where it is.
Yeah, you're looking at this precise. Yeah, and actually, like Val, this is part of your sort of streetwise stuff. You definitely know the because of your clientele often comes from the very lowest of the low. You are not one of the highfalutin investigatives.
Yeah.
So definitely, and in fact, you have contacts down amongst the goblins, so it should be relatively easy to track him down.
So I'm going to motion and start walking towards where the griffins were.
Yep.
Towards that area.
Hippogriffs?
Yeah, the hippogriffs.
Okay.
I'll come up close and pat him on the back as Kalad is doing it, and I'll try and pick his pocket to take his Featherfall token.
Take who? Agatar's?
Yeah.
Yeah, go. Give me a sleight of hand.
Nice.
Is it nice? I don't know. It doesn't sound very nice.
I think in this case it is.
All right.
Whoa.
Yeah. He has no idea.
It's like, as you say, there isn't anything we should do, and messing with you could be a mistake for us. But I think we have tired of you here and now. I don't get the impression he's responsible for like the creature or anything like that, right? Or do I? The flame creature, or actually killing. Are you responsible? We'll walk him up to the edge, and he's obviously not going to be too.
Hey!
He's not going to be too nervous about falling because he thinks he'll be okay.
Even then, I mean, like if you guys are on the, this is going to drop him in the water. He doesn't want that.
I'm going to ask him, straight. Do you have any responsibility for Lonzo's death?
No. Hold on.
I'm fingering my feather token, featherfall token, and then with a sleight of hand, I'll show that I have another featherfall token in my hand. I know that you're lying.
He looks at you, eyes wide. No. What do you do?
I say that I know that you're lying, and I'm already in dire straits, and my friends aren't even from around here. You can see what sort of state Ehrlich is in. This may be the last thing that we ever do together. Trying to show him that our desperation is there, and try to get him to tell us what's happening.
Let's see here.
I say we just push him.
Tyria walks up to Ehrlich, puts her hand on his shoulder, and says,
He cries out, "No!" And there's another a flash of power, and there are now 3 of him standing there. Let's quickly just move us to the platform here. Let me get rid of the Agatar token there, or the thing. Where are we going here? Yes, there we go. Okay, so I'll move you guys over here. And I'll move Agatar over here. I'm assuming he's on the edge there. Oop, where'd he go? There he is. No! Put Val right there, and you guys can position yourselves around. Oop.
Oh, yep.
Okay. All right, so guys, let's roll some initiative first here. Go ahead and let me open up the bar here. Let me add it. Okay. All right. And got an 11.
Yeah.
Oops, he's not 11. All right. So we got everybody. And let's see here.
Sorry, the Steel Defender doesn't get initiative. That's on mine.
There we go.
You can delete its initiative.
Here we go. The traitor revealed. That is this. All right, so then first up is Kalad. What are you doing?
All right, I am. You said there's 3 of them. Are they all in the same space, or you get
basically same space? Yeah.
Okay. Well, the one that I'm holding on to, I'm going to do my best to toss him off.
Okay. Give me a. Let's make it a contested athletics roll.
All right.
Okay.
Here.
Watch here. Let's do first. Let's see if it's the right guy. And let me turn this music down a scooch because it got a lot louder than I thought. All right. So first, just give me a D20 roll. Let's see what whether you get the right guy here.
6.
Okay. Let's see. Each time a creature targets you with an attack during the spell's duration, roll D20 to determine whether the attack instead targets one of your duplicates. Unfortunately, you throw it over and it falls, and then it winks out of existence. Fuck,
Yep.
It was a duplicate. That would have been successful, though. Next up is... Oh, did you roll the Steel Defender by accident?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can delete that.
Yeah, get rid of that. Diria, you're up next. What are you doing?
She'll step up and strike at one of the images.
Please do. First, give me a D20 roll. Let's see if...
Okay.
Yeah, let's just see if you're hitting the right thing first. He's going to try and have it be a duplicate. He needs an 8 or higher, and then it'll be a duplicate. Yep. So another one of the duplicates winks out.
Summon the little guy.
Okay.
Steal the defender. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. Ba-dum. Then he gestures and vanishes. And I'm hitting all sorts of the wrong things here. Let me get to him. I'm going to put him on. Let's see here. Game Master Lair. And he is going to make his move. Now, do you get attacks of opportunity against invisible things? I can't remember.
Never seen it happen.
I believe that you do.
But you would have an
Attack rolls against a creature have disadvantage.
Well, it's not an attack roll. It's whether there's an attack of opportunity.
Yeah, I think it depends if there's any perception there. You know, maybe his.
You know, fuck it. Let's anyone who's
stealth
in
versus
contact,
passive.
Kalad, Val, and Diria. Each of you guys go ahead and give me an attack of opportunity. We'll have disadvantage on it, but let's see if you can actually hit him. Maybe there'll be a blood trail you can follow. Holy smokes!
Oh, jeez.
Diria with a vengeful attack.
Yeah. That's awesome. Actually, and Kalad as well. Jeepers. So both of you guys hit him. Oh! You hear a cry, and you can see blood trail that leads. Let me just do a quick marking here. Up to, let's see here. From here up to there.
So he's like dove up there because isn't that like a rise?
Yeah, it's he rolled up. Okay. Then it is Val's turn. What are you doing, Val?
All right. So I'm assuming Val is going to be faster. So, well, I don't know. I'm going to try to run up there and stab him, I guess.
Okay.
As a bonus action, can I use my spot hidden creature, my eye for detail, to actually not be at disadvantage when I strike him?
Yes. Give us a roll. Let's see if you can spot him. So that'll be a intelligence or an investigation. Yep.
Investigation check. All right. So basically, Val leaps up. Thankfully, at his decanath leg.
Yep. Yep.
Strikes out.
Up. Love it.
Strikes out with his rapier.
Okay, go ahead.
Ooh, miss.
So swings and misses. Then it is Erlich's turn. What are you doing, Erlich?
Just...
Can I use my bonus? Oh, I already used the bonus action. Never mind. Go ahead.
So Erlich says, "Where is he?"
Okay.
No one answers.
He's right here. I'm swinging at him. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. So he moves to a better angle, and will then do an Eldritch Blast to that space.
Okay.
15.
That's awesome. That is a hit. Not a lot of damage, but it's enough to trigger a concentration check for him.
And also, it pushes him back 10 feet.
Oh, shit. I'm going to make a dex save for him to see if he falls. I rolled a 3. Down the stairs. That's another constant. You know what? I'm just going to have him fail the concentration check. Because I got to roll 3 times, basically. So, he goes down to the bottom of the stairs and reappears. Down there, bleeding. Oh. Kalad, your turn.
All right, I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to do vicious mockery at him.
Nice.
So, do I have to speak in a language he understands? Let me double check. A string of insults laced with subtle enchantments at a creature you can see within range, and I can see him now. All right. So, vicious mockery, and I say something, it's basically like, in our honor-bound society, coward is like just a horrible word.
Yeah.
And I spit it out and spit on the floor, and he has to make a DC 13 wisdom save or take 1 more point of psychic damage.
DC 30. He did succeed in the save. Oh, God! He still definitely feels it. Diria. What are you doing?
She's charging forward.
Oh, switched places with Kalad.
You grabbed Kalad. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, you guys do have control over all the tokens.
30
man.
and can I do non-lethal damage by taking a? I think I can do by taking a penalty to hit, right?
To disadvantage? Possibly. Yeah, that sounds...
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So she'll try to like hit him with the pommel of the sword or something like that to try and knock him out.
That's a pretty... Oh, a 10, though.
10,
he ducks out of the way. Oh, shit. Well. All right. On his turn, he...
25, 30.
Diria, go ahead and make an attack of opportunity. He's making a run for the hippogriffs.
Okay.
So what happens is he starts running for the hippogriffs. You lash out with that magic weapon of yours. He sort of grabs the reins of the hippogriff. He turns and pulls back as if he's going to hold on to them, but then stumbles, falls over the edge, and kind of and falls down, poof, disappearing into the water below.
Mm-hmm.
Sure sucks he didn't have his feather fall token.
Definitely.
Huh.
Now,
And it's like we're way up, right? No way he survived the fall type thing.
there's no way that anyone conceivably could have survived that fall.
Unless he's like some sort of weird...
Unless we were playing a D&D setting specifically inspired by Pulp Adventures that always have...
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I guess what I was wondering is, should we jump after him with our Featherfall tokens?
He's fallen into the water.
Well, to finish
You guys
him off.
have... There's 4 hippogriffs right here.
All right, let's do that. Let's get on the Hippogriff
Okay.
and go finish him.
So you guys head off. Unfortunately, in the time that it takes for you to get off, you fly down. You do an exhaustive search. There's no body. So, but he must be dead. Come on, he's got to be
The
dead.
cogs.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. What do we? So you guys land, and there's nothing to be done by House Durasco in this case. What do we see? What do we cut to next?
Gets
I
the
think that-
cogs.
Yeah, I think that we've all, maybe if we wanted to rest anymore or whatever. Now I think you see us getting off of a gondola or something, and then, or even just walking through the smoky cogs of, the fires.
Incidentally,
and all
you
that.
can use hippogriffs within the city.
Okay.
if you wanna
I didn't know
fly
if
the
we should
hippogriffs
steal
down-
them, I guess. So
No,
I don't know if it matters how we get
Brayton
there.
will totally let you get there. You know the thing that the difference that will be is that arriving in hippogriffs means that you folks have money.
Yeah, and that's what I don't necessarily think we should do in that area.
Okay.
So we could have, some time could have happened. I just thought that we would bypass all that, and you just start to see us walking through into the cogs with the smoke
Sure.
around us, and like we're in a
What if we
Peaky
do this?
Blinders episode.
What if we saw let me pull up his illustration again. We see Sorello, and he goes, we see this the outside of this shitty hole in the wall, goblin pub. It's too small for humans to comfortably go in there. There's people passed out outside. There's a mix of some other races that are in there. But then you see this person kind of fall out. He's got a weird mechanical arm that doesn't seem to work properly. And he's screams something back in Goblin at the people in there. He rubs his nose with his mechanical arm, and you can see that his nose is bleeding. He's got a couple more scrapes on him. But he looks down and he sees that one of the passed out goblins has a bottle on him still, and he grabs it and walks away. And then we see him stagger down into an alleyway. He hits up against the side and slides down. He struggles with that arm, and it comes off. He puts it down, and then he pulls and the bottle's empty. And he smashes it up against the side. And then we see a hand come down with a flask. And the flask has a crest on it. And it is of the Siren army. He looks up and he sees the 4 of you standing there. And he says, I just have no luck. Did Agatar send you then? I know you're, and he gestures to Val. I know who you run with. That's no surprise. They brought you all in for this? I suppose Camiello's dead?
He is.
He takes a big
But not
swig.
by our hand, for sure. Was it?
He stops and kind of looks around at you guys. What do you mean?
We aren't here for the Boromars. We're here for you. Tell us what happened.
You're not... He looks up at you, Val. He doesn't trust you. But he looks up at Kalad and at Diria. Are you with Agamar?
Agatar?
Agatar, sorry.
Mike, is it another character?
Yeah.
So I think Kalad will kind of lean down, and it's sort of the inverse of what he did with Agatar, right? The hand on the shoulder, but this time it's clearly a symbol of comfort. He kind of squeezes his shoulder and says, no, we're here to set wrongs to right and deal with that scum later. Or next.
He looks over. Then you know, don't you? You know. He was the traitor. He was Tool's eyes with the prisoners.
So I was right when I first guessed that's why we didn't take... Oh, no, that was this guy, not Agatar. Never mind.
Yeah. I was right. Nope, wrong.
I was right, I wasn't right.
He looks around. He says, He always was. That's why he stayed so long. That's why you almost didn't get away. I knew that he was Thul's creature. And he knew I knew. So I hid. But with Thul back, the war wasn't fair to any of us. And whatever Thul may have had in the war, he had nothing after. Nothing. So he was blackmailing Agatar. He had his riches, and when Camiello found that Thul was here, Agatar had no choice. If Thul would reveal him and expose him, what would his place be in Highwall? A traitor to Seer.
He's not lying. He doesn't
Not
seem
at
like
all.
he's lying.
No. I'm not sure that this guy has it in him to actually lie. This is a...
Val, sorry.
Go
Val
ahead.
reaches out his open hand for Sorello to take. Agatar is gone. There's only one thing left to do before this is all done.
He looks up. Staggers to his feet. Grabs his old arm and fuses it back to his thing, and it still kind of moves in this... What are you here for, then? So here's a bit of information that you guys may not have known. Camiello had another plan as well, too.
Who's telling us this?
I'm telling you this.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe Brighton. Or,
This is the flashback. Yeah, this is the flashback
Yeah.
of what
Oh,
Brayton
okay.
would have told you as well. I just... we, as the audience, did not learn this yet. This place that you guys met him, it's not Camiello's home. It was intended to be the office for the orphans. Because Val, you're never going to be an investigative working out of High Wall. You need to always have the connection to High Wall, but you need to have your own space. And Erlich and Diria and Kalad, you've spent far too long without a home. And Sirens need a home. And that's what Camiello wanted to do. Was for you all to have a home where you can build a future. Where you can help those that Val always wants to help. And with the assistance of House Vidalis, which is what Brayton is happy to continue to provide, you have access to some of the finest mage-bred animals to do so. And Camiello was intent on putting his fortune behind that. Camiello will not live to see that. One of the last survivors of Camp Karkass has now joined the rest of Seer in whatever awaits you after this world. So you guys would have had... Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so what I was going to say that we were going after Thule, but I think now the last thing to do would be, he wasn't really one of the orphans because he wasn't in our group, Sorello, but you're a survivor. You should be an orphan with us. So it basically offers Sorello to join us in this new task.
Okay. So what we then end with then, guys, we're actually ending early for the first time in one shot hit.
Yeah, amazing.
Perfect.
What we see is, more, I think we'll go back to our original score here.
Is his arm cracked or broken, or you said it was in really rough shape?
Well, here's what we see. You can tell me, you guys can feel free to add stuff in here. What we see is the outside of the, what is it called again? Barrington?
Mm-hmm.
Little Barrington.
Little Barrington, thank you. It's dawn in Sharn. And what we see on the platform outside of the Little Barrington district is a man walking up. And he's providing the morning feed for the hippogriffs. And we see the man put his hand up and scritch them on their heads. And what we see is, Dave, tell me about the new artificer's limb that this man has.
Yeah, it's fashioned in the same design really as the Warforged. Top quality metals, and the inner workings are constructed in really fine quality, and there's a glimmer of energy as it moves.
Nice. So he scritches these, and what we can see as the camera goes around is that this is Sorello. And he's going, easy girls. Not all at once, come on. And he spares a look around and then kind of takes a nip from a flask, tucks it back in, and like, all right, one at a time. And our camera follows inside the house, or inside the structure here. What's the next thing we see? This is catching up on where our heroes are presently.
I think Erlich it has. So during that encounter with when the creature was this flaming ball of energy, part of it he got hit a bunch of times, so that all of his kind of crappy moth-eaten dirty robes coverings over his armor burned away, or burned up part of the way, and he stripped it off along the way as he was spending more and more time with his fellow soldiers, his former buddies. Mm-hmm. So he still has some kind of strangeness about him, but he's actually for the first time polishing his armor, like trying to get all the crud off it, like cleaning it up, like trying to restore it to its former shining glory.
Okay. And then the camera pans over, and what do we see next, guys?
Val is talking to Diria, maybe Kalad if he wants to be there, and saying, all right, hey, this is what Baramir's done, and we need to find out what happened to some person. You know, moving some stuff around. And
Yeah.
not necessarily acting like he would, but talking about a case. And
Is there like a
shifting some
magical sort of
parchments.
like the wall of photos and shit like that?
Yeah, with the string lines, you know, and we're talking about, and then if we finish this off, then we'll find Thule or whatever. So,
Yeah. What about Diria? What do we see with her or with Kalad?
I think a little bit after Diria and Val and Kalad are talking, you catch Diria enter one of the rooms and Mother's in there, and she walks up to Mother and puts her hand on Mother's back, and Mother turns around and then they have like a real heartfelt conversation and get some stuff out in the open that been bothering her, and she tries to, like, rather than hide from the past and push it away, and it's like, you know what, you are the only real chance I have of seeing my family again, so got to embrace that mother's around.
Okay. And then Kalad, what do we see with him?
I think not to put kind of a grim ending on it. Kalad is sort of the only one who doesn't look quite as recovered, as cheerful, if in a sense, or working quite as smoothly. Partly because I think for him, part of his connection to the group was the idea that they all lost something important, and the most important thing for him is this history that he has lost. And now that they're all kind of regaining something again, he's almost getting left behind with a history that can never be recovered. And so you can see him looking a little grimmer. He maybe has some scratches and scarring on his armor from being the enforcer and once or twice. But you can sort of sense that the reckoning with Thule is coming, and maybe that will set things right.
Okay. So as he's sort of, polishing one of his short swords, what we end with is one of the kids runs by and grabs your other short sword and it's like, ha ha ha, get me! And he goes running off, and we see Kalad kind of like, you son of a, get up and go after. And the kid kind of runs in the direction of the landing. The camera follows the kids along with Kalad. And then outside. And we once again pan back, and we can kind of see from the angle of it, we can see everybody. We can see Sarah, whatever his name is, he's Sorello.
Sorello,
is working on the hippogriffs. We see Val and standing in front of this board with everything on it, kind of trying to draw connections. Diria and Mother are in his room as well too, and we can see she's now summoned the image of Diria's mother, and we can assume that a voice is being played. And Kalad, distracted momentarily by trying to capture these damned little kids. Or how does he feel about that, I guess? I don't...
Oh, he puts on a gruff face. He loves the kids. He'll
Okay.
play music for them anytime they ask.
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
of that sort of stuff. And they, I think, humor him more than actually, because it's pretty weird shit that he does.
Yeah.
Right? His
Okay.
throat singing and all that.
So
Nice.
with the camera then pulling away, having found where everyone is, it turns out to see credits roll, music swells, and we bring ourselves to the end of the Hateful Secrets of Camp Karkass. So,
Awesome.
for those listening at home, thank you so much for
wait 1
joining
second.
us.
Wait, yeah.
Wait a
Hobbs.
second.
Yeah.
I thought then there like a hand burst out of the lake beneath and all
Yeah.
desiccated, and then you can
That
see
is a
someone starting to
post-credits
crawl out.
thing for
Oh.
sure.
I was gonna say.
All right. Well, we know there's plenty of trouble to be found with any one of our heroes right now, too. House Decaneth is not happy with Diria coming back. The other Dakani goblins really don't care for Kalad and his separate attitude. Erlik's got more than a few skeletons in his closet. And Val, the Boromar clan does not forget. So, is this the end of our the Orphans of Karkass? We'll have to see. But for now, that brings us to the end of our very special one-shot in support. Once again, the reason we put this session together was to give you some idea of the cool stuff you can do with Beetle and Grimm's Gold Edition Eberron Rising from the Last War box set, which is the grand prize in our charity raffle for Heroes Save Villages to benefit SOS Children's Villages International. As is always the case, if you have any questions or comments or concerns regarding this session, the game, it's not a campaign, but the characters. If you have questions about the charity raffle as well too, which will be live until September 1, 2020. September 1st at noon Mountain Standard Time is when we'll be shutting down the donations. But for every $25 you donate, you will have one chance to win a copy of Beetle and Grimm's amazing Eberron Rising from the Last War. Again, I've purchased, I think, all of their copies that we've had so far. This is hands down my favorite. It's such a cool... It is the closest thing to the old school 2nd edition campaign setting box sets, and it's got so much cool stuff in it. I didn't even get a chance to use them, but there's these amazing hanger monster cards, too, that you've got that you put on the back. You hang them over your DM screen so the players can see that. And then, and the map for Sharn is my favorite they've put out so far. It's even better than the one in the old Sharn rulebook. Oh yeah, and Thule. You still guys have to do with Thule as well too. Good God.
Yep.
And his Necromancer as well. So, in addition, if you have any of those questions, you can leave a comment in the comment section, or you can reach me on Twitter at Dungeon Musings. You can reach me by email. My email address is dungeonmusings@gmail.com. You can also find a link in the description of this video to the Dungeon Musings Discord server. So if you do have any other questions or whatnot, you can for sure contact us there. In addition... Dave just went down. Can I change? Dave does have a charity session coming up. So, in addition, there is, let's see here. If you enjoyed the session, I'd ask you to consider clicking on subscribe to never miss one of our sessions. And if you want to be notified of future sessions, be sure to click on the bell icon to be reminded when we're going live. I always post the schedule as well every Sunday night on the community tab. Also, if you're joining us from Mr. Hobbs' Gamerhood, be sure to click on like, so you'll be advised whenever Hobbs is going live, either as an awesome player or an awesome DM. In addition, I would ask you to consider clicking on subscribe for him as well, too, because that will help Hobbs creating some of the awesome content that he's able to create and permit him to play in some of our games. Because do you think we'd let Mr. Hobbs play for free? Just kidding.
No kidding.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say is that we do have a number of other really amazing prizes. If you don't win the grand prize, there's still a ton of other great prizes, including 2 copies of the Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea Core Rulebook. There is an amazing chainmail dice bag that our very own resident Kenneth Artificer has made. So Dave, thank you so much for that. And our resident storyteller as well, too, Jason Hobbs, has donated some OSR zines to us as well. So there's that. There's a copy of actually the now Any award-winning The Monsters Know What They're Doing by Keith Amon. You can get a copy of that as well too. There's stuff from our Red Bubbles shop as well too. So there's tons of really great prizes. And the best thing is all donations go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. All of it goes, none of it goes to the middleman, none of it goes to the channel. All donations go to help the over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children who benefit from that. So, yeah. My heavy-handed way of horning in some orphans into this adventure is indeed thematic. So... With that, the last thing I want to say is a huge thank you. I always say this, but all 4 of these guys already played in at least 1, sometimes 2 games in the last 24 hours with me. So I want to say a huge thank you to you guys for agreeing to play in this game and doing such an awesome job playing these characters. These were pre-gens as well, too, that these guys dove into, and you completely made them your own. So, Hobbs, George, Dave, and Arlen, thank you so much for such a terrific session. I greatly appreciate you putting your time in for this, and I hope to return the favor at some point.
Yeah, when are we playing again?
It was great. I had fun. Yeah.
Awesome. So, and for those listening at home, once again, thank you so much for joining us. If you are joining us during the current pandemic, whether live or recording otherwise. We do hope that this finds you healthy, safe, and weathering the current crisis as well as can be expected, economically, emotionally, psychologically, everything. We hope that you've given you a chance to take your mind off of the current troubles in the world and turn your mind to the spires of Sharn for a little while. And until we see you again, happy gaming.
Bye.
Bye.